outside, but it is wonderful indoors. It's wonderful here. It's wonderful where you are.
You know what, though?
What?
This is a perfect morning to look outside, listen to the Odyssey app, have a cup of coffee, and listen to our show.
And then have another cup of coffee, and then just keep drinking coffee until bedtime. 314-436-7900. Actually, I do not recommend you do that because you will be up until Wednesday of next week. 314-436-7900 to call and text. Leave us voice messages on the Odyssey app. Watch the show. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Do you follow us at Chris Amy KMOX? You don't? What's wrong with you?
Time now for the top of the order. The top 3 stories everyone will be talking about.
Well, yeah, there's a lot that is happening today, and we will get into as much of it as we possibly can. The U.S. and Israel attack Iran. 4 U.S. service members so far have been killed.
And just as a heads up, at
We'll
11, we will
Hertling.
be talking, to U.S. Army Lieutenant General Mark Hertling. And I guess a transition that is as KMOX as can be from Iran to Ali Marmol received a contract extension with the Cardinals. He will be with the team through 2028. That is a KMOX one, too, if I've ever heard one.
There you go. We got the big news and then big baseball Cardinals news. Man, that coming out yesterday. Billikens did win over the weekend, which is good. They got a couple of games left to go. The Blues won their game over Minnesota. And Cardinals and Marlins, they'll play some spring training baseball today.
It took the 47th president, a fighter who always puts America first, to finally draw the line after 47 years of Iranian belligerence. If you threaten Americans anywhere on earth, we will hunt you down without apology and without hesitation, and we will kill you.
That is Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth this morning in a press conference that got underway about 7 o'clock Central Time, addressing the operation, the military operation, Epic Fury, which took place over the weekend, in which the Ayatollah Khamenei was killed in that operation. And so far, as I mentioned right off the top, there have been 4 American service members who have been killed. And we expect, at least according to Pete Hegseth, for operations to continue. And the administration has said that more Americans will die. They'll just try to keep it at a minimum. So I don't know.
The messaging has been a little rough, but right. And a lot to keep up on, as we mentioned, retired Lieutenant General Mark Hertling at 11, as Ranj mentioned, the 4 U.S. service members who have died. 3 U.S. fighter jets were shot down over Kuwaiti airspace in what was what they're saying was an accident. It was a friendly fire incident. And then also worth noting that this morning, General Dan Kane said more troops are on the way to the Middle East.
So here's my issue with it. And look, nobody is going to lose sleep over Khamenei being killed. Bad guy. And I don't think anybody would argue against that except people who support him. And I don't think there are that many of them here in this country. My issue with it is this administration, this president ran on not starting any new wars. And even back in 2020, when he was running, he said, we've spent trillions of dollars in the Middle East, and we don't spend that money here fixing, our roads and our schools and stuff like that. He's talking about infrastructure, and he campaigned on this. He campaigned on not doing this. So I don't really know what the end game is here. And I think that's the bigger problem, is that if this were a one-off military operation and we could then say, that's it, nothing else will come of this, everybody's safer now, then I can get down with it. The problem is I just don't trust that. I don't have any reason to trust that this is a one-off, or that this will be a short campaign, or that few Americans will die in it. And then when it's all over, will not have cost us very much and will be worth it. I don't have any trust that this is going to be worth it in the end.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, a lot to take in this weekend. It was pretty amazing to see the people in Iran just celebrating out on the streets, yelling from, apartment windows and the windows of homes and cheering because, as you mentioned, Khamenei, horrible, evil murderous, oppressive leader who, as we know, back in January, they made the country go dark for a couple of days while there were protests fighting the Islamic regime that has oppressed and terrorized and murdered and tortured the Iranian people. And they cut the Wi-Fi. It went dark, and 30 to 40,000 protesters were slaughtered. And the stories coming out of that they were dragging injured people out of hotel beds, the Iranian regime was, and beheading them, beheading doctors who were treating the injured, and so you see the joy of so many Iranian people, cautious joy, obviously, because what comes next? We don't know.
See, that's the thing is they can want him to be gone. And I'm sure they are very happy that he is gone. But is the regime really gone, like Pete Hegseth said this morning?
Well, and
I don't think so.
Well, here's the thing, though. There is something to be said for cutting off the head of the snake. And what we do know, it was Khomeini was killed. And a lot of this is from Israeli intelligence. It is assumed that the Mossad, who has so much intelligence in Iran and is so deeply infiltrated Iran and the ranks in Iran, the Islamic regime, that they were able to cut off multiple heads of the snake, Khamenei being the big one, but also the head of the IRGC. They also killed the architect of the nuclear program in Iran, the minister of defense, and the head of armed forces logistics. And they also killed the commander-in-chief of the Iranian army. And what we do know is in these strikes, specifically since October 7th, not of this year, but of several years ago, when Hamas attacked Israel, that Israel then went after leaders of Hezbollah, which was funded by Khomeini and Iran. And they went after Hamas, funded by Khomeini and Iran, and the Houthis, funded by Khomeini and Iran. And now they went after him. So when you do cut the heads off of the leaders of these groups, it does set them back significantly. Now, with the United States, I thought the Dispatch, a media outlet here that I think helped explain why this is so confusing, especially in the United States, is the messaging from whether it be Pete Hegseth or Donald Trump. They have way overstated previous successes, saying we've done it.
They said they obliterated their nuclear capabilities.
And if they did, why another attack? So they've overstated previous successes.
That's exactly right.
They've misrepresented current risks publicly. And they've also given, over and over again, sometimes day after day or minute by minute, conflicting justifications for confrontations with Iran from the U.S. side. So I completely understand the confusion here. And you know what? You do need, like I said, when no one's losing sleep over Khomeini, I'm glad he's dead and burning in hell. But you do need to make a constitutional case for Congress, for the American people. This is what it takes. Israel, they've got their case and they can do their strikes. And like I said, I do think it has been effective to cut the heads off of those organizations. What comes next, we don't know. Pete Hegseth did say this morning, this is not nation building. They're not trying to change a culture, but they did cut the head off. And again, it is wait and see.
Yeah, and I don't think you could do a wait and see on something like this. You better have a real plan in order before you go and do it. And this does seem to be sort of a wait and see. Well, let's see what happens with this kind of administration. And I don't think in a situation like this, that's how you should operate, because this is very delicate. It is extremely dangerous. It will have implications, not just in that region, but around the world. And I'm sorry, but I highly doubt that we are all now safer as a result of it. And I doubt the Middle East is safer as a result of it. And by the way, Representative Mike Turner, was on Face the Nation yesterday and said that Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, that their intent was not to go in there and kill Khomeini. That's just kind of what happened. But then Trump went and said, well, I got him before he got me, because there have been attempts on my life. Or there were going to be attempts on my life. And that is what the president said. So the messaging is off. I don't really think they know what they're doing. I think that the people who are in charge of the military, and I mean the actual military leaders on the ground, the generals and so on and so forth, those people know what they are doing. But I think the people they answer to don't.
Yes. Yeah. The people they answer to. And again, this is why, again, messaging matters and why two things can be true. I think taking out Khamenei and, again, the leaders of Hamas, Hezbollah, and then the leaders of the IRGC. I do think that move does make us safer, makes the Middle East safer. My concern is the current administration, where you give them credit, you could say, for doing it. However, I can also be extremely concerned by who's in charge, because the way they're doing it is bumbling. The messaging from the president in the past day has been extremely clumsy, and I would say harmful to the messaging, because he's called journalists like Axios or the Associated Press and given each outlet a different answer. Oh, it'll be days. It'll be weeks. We have a plan. We don't have a plan. And that is very, very concerning. I guess as far as boots on the ground or the people conducting the mission, especially Israel and the Mossad being in, and getting those leaders in Iran, I trust them. And with Iran, because the messaging is so messed up, that it is important to note that Iran has effectively waged aggression / war against the United States since 1979. Whether it's, of course, we all know the 444 days of American hostages, over 240 Marines killed in Beirut, 603 U.S. troops killed in Iraq by Iranian-backed militias, over 170 attacks on U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria just last year, because Iran is the world's largest state sponsor of terror. Again, there is a case to be made for going after the leadership in Iran, but this administration didn't do it, and they need to do it. They need to make a constitutional case for Congress and for the people. But what it does feel like it's coming across is shoot from the hip bro language, like, hey, man, we're coming after you. And this is a big deal, and you need to make that case.
Yeah, and I don't trust them to make it. I'm sorry. I just don't. And we'll see what happens. Like the administration, we will wait and see what happens. But hopefully we don't see a lot of American casualties. We've already had 4 just over a couple of days worth of campaign. So I don't know. It's an administration that ran on not starting more wars and, in fact, getting out of them. And here they are starting one. That's Amy Marks Kors. I'm Chris Ranji. We got a lot to get to. As Amy said, General Mark Hertling is going to join the show at 11 o'clock. We'll get his expertise. He knows that region of the world very, very, very well. Maybe more than anybody else we've ever talked to on this show. He is unbelievable. So we're going to talk to General Hertling at 11. A lot coming up on the show today. Thanks for being with us on KMOX.
Saving money is hard, but what's worse is when you save all year, hoping to use that money for a nice vacation, and then your AC unit dies and that money is gone. Now imagine yourself in retirement. You've saved a nice amount, hoping to use it for fun. But every time you take money out of your 401k, you get hammered in taxes. It's a sad fact, but your number one expense in retirement may not be cruises and trips. It could be taxes. At the All Financial Group, we believe in keeping more of your money where it belongs, with you. Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Tuesday, March 10th and Thursday, March 12th. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. You must qualify to attend. Call today to reserve your spot, 636-230-8824, or go online to yourmoneymattersstl.com. And services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents nor representatives may give any tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
What's up? It's Draymond Green. I'm back for my 14th NBA season, and my podcast, The Draymond Green Show, is back too. This season, I'm breaking down games, reacting to the biggest NBA stories, and sitting down with teammates, rivals, and culture shapers. And trust me, I'm not holding back, on the court or on the mic. 2 new episodes every week. New segments, big conversations, real basketball talk for the real hoop heads. Listen to and follow The Draymond Green Show wherever you get your podcasts. We're back. We're better. Let's get it.
Come on. No. It's just a golf lesson, champ. Loosen up.
I can't. See that Hyundai Santa Fe?
Yeah.
I only paid
Finish up on your own. I gotta run.
Deal's so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days on the Hyundai Tucson, Tucson Hybrid, Santa Fe, or Santa Fe Hybrid. Now, during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Hurry, offers end March 2nd. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Experience music, magic, story, and wonder with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra in Scheherazade, Magic and Myth. Feel bold energy and haunting beauty as violinist Leila Josefowitz performs Alban Berg's deeply moving Violin Concerto. Then be swept away by Scheherazade. Saturday, March 14th and Sunday, March 15th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Save big money on your next painting project with Menards. Get a paint that combines gorgeous color and durability. Dutch Boys Platinum Plus is a paint and primer with a protective finish that guards against scuffs, spills, and stains. Get $15 off instantly on a single qualifying purchase of $100 or more on Dutch Boy and Purdy products. Now through March 8th. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Considering buying or selling a home? When it comes to the Gelman team with eXp Realty, numbers don't lie. Over 1,500 Google and Zillow 5-star reviews, nearly 6,000 homes, and $2.5 billion in real estate sold. Call 314-336-1991, thegelmanteam.com.
At Graybar, we know your time is money. That's why our services go beyond parts and products. With kitting, pre-assembly, wire carts, and Graybar smart reels that keep you moving. We stage materials and manage logistics so you can spend less time sorting and more time installing. And with locations nationwide, we deliver when and where you need it, working to make your job easier every step of the way. Yep, Graybar does that.
Proudly serving St. Louis for over 100 years. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
I definitely want to start off by thanking you, Bill and Chaim, for the trust. I don't take that lightly. Family, Amber, girls, I appreciate you guys continuing to be by my side through this whole thing. I spoke to the staff earlier before coming out here. You guys are awesome.
That is Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol.
You know who's going to be so excited?
No.
My mom.
Why?
She loves Ollie Marmol.
Oh, does she?
Yeah. And she always says his name as one word. Ollie Marmol.
Ollie Marmol. Well,
She loves him.
Well, you're right. She's going to be very happy because the Cardinals manager over the weekend, yesterday, in fact, it was announced officially that he has gotten a 2-year extension with the St. Louis Cardinals, which means he will remain with the team through 2028, and there is a club option for 2029. So the terms of the deal before, we didn't really know how long, what it was going to be, but here you go. He's coming back. And I know that, and I've seen the reaction from Cardinals fans on social media, and I don't think that necessarily represents all of Cardinals Nation and how they feel about him. But there are a lot of people who are like, well, just here you go with the mediocrity for the next 2 years. Just enjoy that. Well, here's the thing about it. I do think that Marmol is a pretty good manager. And in this sport, maybe more than some of the others, I think you are just at the mercy of how good your talent is. Like, you can coach up football a little bit. I mean, you have to have good players. You got to have good players in the NBA. You have to good talent. You have to have good talent in all sports. But a manager does not do X's and O's the way a football coach does.
Yeah.
He's not calling plays. He doesn't have his hands in every single pitch, in every single at bat.
He's been dealt his hand. His cards are his cards.
He makes the lineup.
No
he
pun
throws,
intended. Oh,
No,
sorry.
wow,
I'm
good
so
job.
sorry. That was a mistake.
He makes the lineup.
Yeah.
He throws the guys in the lineup. He says, all right, go hit. Get me some runs, guys. He has the rotation. He has who he has to start. The only thing I think you can say is maybe a manager, they really earn their money with the bullpen management.
So I was going to say,
I think he does a pretty good job at that.
That was my takeaway is when people complain most about a manager, It's always the bullpen. At least that's how I feel. That's the biggest complaint. I feel like back in the Tony La Russa days, they thought he micromanaged, pitching and the bullpen. And that was the complaint against him, because you're right. Managing a baseball team very different than a football team, but you've got what you've got. Your roster is your roster. And not to bring everything back to hockey, but I think even a casual Blues fan can realize that Craig Berube was not the problem with the Blues when they fired him.
Right.
It's just
right.
The team is the team, and you can lose a locker room. You can lose a clubhouse. That is not what's been happening with the Cardinals.
No, and I think those are times when you might want to make a change where, look, players don't have to like the manager. That's not what it's about. It's about whether or not you create a good environment. And it seems like Ollie does do that. And not every single player is going to like him the same. Some are going to dislike him. There isn't a manager in baseball where all 26 guys on the team love the manager. It just doesn't exist. It's not realistic. So you can stop with that. But Tony in his prime would not have had last year's team in the playoffs.
No.
It just, I don't understand that, but it is the natural, easy target when a team isn't good to go straight for the manager and say, fire this guy, bring in somebody else.
Now, I know you don't watch The Office, but there's a line where Michael Scott, Steve Carell's character, is asked as the boss, would you rather be feared or loved? And he said, both. I want people to be afraid of how much they love me.
Yeah.
You think that's what Ollie thinks?
No, I think he is I think he does.
He connects. There seems to be a connection. Well. It's a very, very different vibe. And maybe this is my media bias, but I feel like there's a very different vibe between Ollie and us and like Mike Matheny.
I think Ollie
and us.
Well, so there are some people who really, truly don't care what anybody thinks of them. There are coaches and managers who aren't worried about public opinion. And then there are some who are really worried about it. I think Ollie cares. I think Ollie cares a lot how people view him. And part of the reason he's been doing the show with us on Tuesdays on the Gas House Gang is because he wants to explain his thought process in more detail. And I think he's very good at that. I don't always agree with everything, but I appreciate the fact he's willing to talk about it, and he'll take any question. And rarely does he say, in fact, I don't think he ever did it once last year where he said, I can't answer that, guys. I'm not going to do it.
And that's the thing. Your discussions with Ollie Marmol when you guys did that all last season every Tuesday was just my favorite. It was appointment radio for really everyone in St. Louis. You can't miss that conversation with the manager. And when you say that he cares what people think, he cares in the right way, because there are people who care, and so they get defensive or they get snippy or they over-explain. Whereas Ollie's very, very confident, and he doesn't just care what people think, but he respects the fans, and he respects Cardinals fans and respects the media. And so I feel like he's like, I'm giving you my answer. It's not in a defensive way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, there are times where I've asked him something and said, well, what would you have done? I'm like, well, it's not about me, man. You answer the question. You're the manager. You do it.
Maybe he wants to know.
But you know what? I do think that a lot of times he is genuinely curious if you think there's actually a better alternative, or are you just asking to ask?
Which is fair, because
I think that's fair too.
You're Mr. Baseball, right? Like, you were with the White Sox. You called games. You covered games. You've done the Cardinals.
I worked with a really bad team.
You worked for the really bad team. But I think if you ask, I think you are a fair person for him to say, well, what would you have done? Like, are you asking just to ask, or do you think there was an alternative?
Yeah.
Right.
And you're right. Those are fair questions. I like the guy, and I do think he's pretty baseball smart. I don't think it's possible to have a manager for any baseball team that does everything right all the time and makes every correct decision. And what I appreciate about him is that he is willing after the fact to say, you know what, I got that one wrong. And you don't want him to say it too much. You don't want him to always be like, yep, I got that one wrong, and that one. And oh, yes, by the way, I got that.
You don't want
really
too much
blew
transparency. Yeah, transparency can be overdone.
But the value of it is the value of the ownership of it is that he is aware when he's made a mistake, and that usually means he's able to correct it the next time. So the value of somebody who's able to acknowledge that they blew it, that means they've learned from it and will be better in the future. So I I appreciate that about him. I think they have a good one in Ollie, and I hope he sticks around for a while. And I kind of hope, and a lot of things can change between now and the time when the Cardinals are actually good again, and it could be a couple of years. It could be more than that. We don't know. But I kind of, at this point, I hope it's not one of those situations where they start to get good on the roster, where they've maybe JJ Weatherholt is starting to really turn into a star, and Mason Wynn is starting to grow, and you look at the Cards and say, wow, this is an up and coming team. I hope we don't get in a situation where that happens and then they change the manager, because I've seen that happen with a lot of teams where the guy who was helping these players grow is then replaced by somebody who's more established than that, or a bigger name. I hope we don't end up there in a couple of years. And I think this extension is kind of showing us that they won't. So Gas House Gang at 12 o'clock. We'll talk more about that. But before, we'll even have Matt Pauley on this show at 10:30 today. So we will get his thoughts on Ollie's extension. Got a lot coming up on the show today. In fact, Amy, who has shingles.
Jeez, no. Guys, it's been a rough week. I was out. You might have noticed I was out a bit last week.
We're going to talk about Amy's shingles when we come back on KMOX.
I don't like you. Go away.
At Odyssey, we believe in creating a diverse and inclusive workforce. We also value the power of community and encourage local organizations to help us in referring qualified applicants to our stations. If you're a community organization interested in receiving our vacancy information, simply email equalemployment@odyssey.com. You'll be notified of all our open positions. That's equalemployment@odyssey.com. And for all our listeners, please visit odysseyinc.com/careers for a list of job openings at all Odyssey radio stations.
Spring training is here, and Cardinals baseball is heating up in Jupiter as young talent and big expectations take the field. The Gas House Gang is talking Cardinals all day long. Tom Ackerman, Chris Ranji, Bernie Nicholas. Smart takes, insightful analysis, real Redbird conversation, plus live reports from Camp Cardinals with Matt Pauley and Mike Claiborne. If it matters to Cards fans, it's on the Gas House Gang. Weekdays at noon on KMOX. Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
It's pretty drizzly, dreary out there outside the windows of Studio B. 36 degrees, periods of rain and drizzle this morning, cloudy and chilly the rest of the day, a high of 46. Weather sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, 100 years. That's how long Overhead Door Company of St. Louis has been repairing and replacing garage doors. For same-day repair service and no extra charge for evening or Saturday service, schedule online at overheaddoorstlewis.com.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
Start your summer early at the St. Charles Boat Show, March 5th through 8th at the St. Charles Convention Center. The top marine dealers from the Lake of the Ozarks will be on site with the newest boats, personal watercraft, docks, and accessories. Step aboard, compare models, and find the perfect ride for your family. Special show pricing and experts ready to help make your boating dreams a reality. Visit lakeoftheozarksboatdealers.com for more information.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Rush Hour Sports, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here.
Bernie Nicholas joins Rush Hour Sports tonight at 5 on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Well, I think it goes without saying that Ranj is rude. And
what do you mean?
Well, listen, guys. I've been, you may have noticed few days last week I was out. I've been in and out of the lineup, as they say.
You made John Hancock
Yeah.
work in your stead.
Yeah.
And just, last minute, he was not happy.
Yeah.
Because, he had allotted 1 hour for us.
Mhm.
And then suddenly he had to work 5. And he was like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, bit of a rough go, guys, the past couple of weeks. I got diagnosed with shingles, which I thought was for old people. And unless you say, well, you are old. I thought, you don't even get the vaccine until you're 50. Matt, as soon as I said I'm old, his light goes on like he wants to. Matt, our producer, who's 12, thinks I'm on the back 9.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, shingles is awful. And I was very, very, very fortunate. So we caught it early. And I actually never got a rash because the shingles rash is like, I know. How gross is this conversation?
No, I want to keep having it all day.
It's so gross. But I didn't. It just manifested itself.
Can I stop you real quick?
Yeah.
Because
how do they know it's shingles?
No. You said they caught it early. Is this the kind of caught it early thing? Is it a thing that you can do something about it early? Because I thought it's like chicken pox. Because people who've had chicken pox are susceptible to it.
Well, because it's an inflammation.
Right.
And when I say like maybe if I because it started during the show last week where I thought I was being stabbed in my ear. And then it felt like I was getting, this all happened in the middle of the show. Like I went from being fine to like, oh my gosh, my ear, I feel like I'm being stabbed. And then I felt like my jaw was being electrocuted, like in waves. And so I'm doing the show, I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And then I moved my hair, like I pressed my hair back and my scalp was so sensitive, it almost knocked me out of the chair. So I didn't even tell you guys, like I just left after the show and I went straight to the doctor. And I said, here's what's happening. I think I have an ear, it's an ear infection. That's what I thought it was. And he said, no, it's shingles. He goes, it can manifest. Usually it's like all on one side of your body, the left side of your head. And because it attacked the nerves in my head so quickly that I was able to get on medicine that day. And so whether it's the antiviral medication and the steroids, it brings the inflammation down, which basically if I had tried to push through it, and not taken medication, the inflammation presumably and the virus would have gotten worse and then I could have gotten.
Oh, okay.
Because apparently like the fact that it was all on my head, then that's when like I guess the rash can show up on your face. Especially for younger people, it shows up on your face. And I'll just say this real quick and then we can move on with the question and answer section. Again, my doctor said, Amy, I get more people at 40 years old getting shingles than I do your parents' age. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I felt like such a freak. He said, no, people who come in for shingles in my office right now are 40 years old. Well, I told one of my running buddies, because of course I missed my run. He goes, oh yeah, I had it last year. He was 39 and his neighbors had it. They were 38, or excuse me, 38 and 42 respectively. And then my brother, one of his groomsmen before his own wedding, said he got shingles 2 weeks before his wedding and he was 28. This is a young people's thing now. And that's what I mean by caught it early, because I do think the way my head felt, I'm sure something would have happened on my skin. I don't know. I do need to thank the ophthalmology associates because my vision was getting blurry and my hearing was not great. And they were very concerned that because I didn't have a rash, that it was attacking the nerves in my eyes and my ears. And so my eyes are okay. It did not get to the nerves. It was probably other things like fatigue, medication, and all of that made the vision blurry. But I know people listening who have had it, who did get a rash. My parents' friends, and she's a bit older, but she got it all over her body. And it took 5 weeks. And she was on such strong pain medication because it was so painful that now she's on, basically a rehab program to get off of that pain medication. But I'll tell you what, guys, I am so fortunate, again, that I didn't get any kind of rash. But I did lose chunks of hair out of the left side of my head. So it's like shingles, like alopecia, basically. And because my scalp was so sore, and all of a sudden I lifted up my hair to put into a ponytail, and there's a perfectly smooth bald spot. It's just gone.
Oh,
my hair is gone. I know. And the other thing that's happened is, and I still have it, is my ears feel hot and my scalp will go in waves where it kind of feels like it's on fire. There, again, nothing on the skin, but I feel like it's on fire. That comes in waves. And then fatigue. So yesterday I woke up at 8:30, tried to get coffee with a friend at 9, took all my energy to go get coffee, came home at 10, and then I slept hard until 2 o'clock. I was just out.
Mayo Clinic says that it is most common, obviously, in people over 50. About 10% of the cases occur in people under 20, and cases for adults under 50 have quadrupled over the last few decades. So I don't know if that's an issue of, or if that's an effect of being more diagnosable or something, but it is caused by stress, or it can be brought on by stress or depression or anxiety, or if you're immunosuppressed, it can happen to you too.
Yeah. And my doctor said, did you have a stressful event in the past few days? And I did. And then also, as you guys know, I was out for a funeral. So it was a stressful event plus a family funeral.
Yeah.
And it all happened and I got shingles. And so it was so funny.
Would you recommend getting the vaccine now when it's time for you?
My doctor said, he goes, honestly, the jury's still out on if you have the vaccine, if you get shingles early, if you should get the vaccine early. He's like, that's what my doctor said. Every doctor might be different.
If you haven't had the shingles yet.
No, they still say 50. Yeah, he's like, I don't know why. I don't know I was pretty medicated and tired, so I didn't go into deep conversation with him. He just said I would not necessarily recommend a vaccine. He did say, unfortunately, now you're more susceptible to it because now it's like an option for your body.
Dave is watching us on YouTube, says, I knew a man in his early 70s who got shingles in his eye. The pain got so bad, he asked the doctor to remove his eye.
Well, and again, there was no visible thing, like my skin, my eyes were okay. They were actually concerned because there is, I think it's like Hunter Ramsey or Ramsey Hunt. I don't know. There's some where it only affects the nerves in your head. Like it never shows up as a rash, but that's really rare and really dangerous. And that's what they wanted to look out for because again, for me, it was blurry vision. My ear felt like an earache, my jaw. And I will say the scalp tenderness, it's been hard to sleep because every time you move, it's just like your scalp hurts and it feels like it's on fire. I'm really hoping that the hair loss is gone. It's all on the left side of my head.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that is done. But, it's something that
if you want me to shave the other side to even it out, I will do that for you.
I might have shorter hair. Honestly, just to I might have shorter hair in the next few days to see if, just to kind of take some of the strain off or whatever, with pulling it back. You don't want to tug on your hair. And at any rate, it is something that is kind of embarrassing to talk about. I didn't even want to talk about because it's embarrassing. And then when I brought it up and all of these young people came out of the woodwork, I didn't know my running buddy had it. I kind of want to tell people it's okay. And it is young person's illness now.
Yeah, it's more common. I mean, it's still for people over 50, but we had a couple of people who have texted in and said, I had it at 15. One person knew somebody at 14 who had it.
Yeah.
And I guess there's not really a whole lot you can do about it. Just hope you don't get it. And then when you do turn 50 to get that vaccine.
Yeah. Yeah. And here, this person said, wow, I know a lady who got it when she was 14. It left scars on her face. I just got a vaccine a week ago. Yes, it directly attacks the nerves. And again, that's why I'm really, really fortunate, because the rash adds a whole new element. You can't go out, right? You can't go out in public because it's not contagious unless the rash is kind of gross. But, that will affect your life and the pain. And like I said, I'm so fortunate, but it's also why I was so careful, because what I didn't want to do is push through and then make it worse. I will say my doctor did say with the scalp tenderness that I have, and like right now, my scalp feels like it's hot. It feels like underneath it's on fire, and my left ear feels hot. And they're like, that, you don't know how long that's going to last. It could last months. It could go away within the next few days, but nerve stuff, you just don't know. And so that's always like a little concerning to me. But, I eventually believe it will go away. I think the biggest surprise is how the fatigue comes in waves. I'm like, okay, I'm getting better. And then the next day, I sleep all day and all night.
I'm not going to get it because you're in here breathing on me, are you?
No, good news. I could cough and sneeze on you and you wouldn't get it.
Thank God.
I know.
I don't want all that.
Nobody's got time for this.
Nobody got time. Come on, man.
But yeah, so it's been a rough couple of weeks, but I will say my first response was, oh my gosh. And my doctor said, don't panic. I said, I'm panicking.
That's probably not helping.
This is gross and embarrassing.
That's not. It's no. That's the whole point. Don't stress.
Well,
don't get anxiety.
And I did.
This is why you shouldn't have anxiety.
Also, hate steroids. Can I just say that? Hate it. They make me want to cry all the time.
Well,
I could probably cry right now.
Okay. You know what? By the time we get back for Did You See This? I want you to have some tears. Do it.
Oh,
Start
no.
now.
This says, according to a family member who had shingles, the soreness can last for a year or more.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
please do not tell Amy how long she's going to be in pain.
This guy, I'm 39. I had it last year. It was all over my scalp, head, and neck. It was so severe I had to be hospitalized.
Okay, guys, please stop
I feel really stressed right now.
This is not the time to text in your shingles horror stories.
We told him
because
it was,
Amy is going to be, it's going to worsen the issue, and she's going to be like this for a year. We can't have it. No more text messages to 314-436-7900. Chris and Amy on KMOX.
Being first in line can be very important to homeowners. First in line for the plumber, first in line for the HVAC guy, first at Banner Construction. It's Banner Construction's winter home event, and you can be the first in line this spring and save before the annual price increases. Banner Construction is a James Hardie and Pella replacement windows specialist, and now is the best time to schedule a free in-home consultation with no obligation. Call 314-569-1050 or check them out on the web at bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Does heart disease run in your family? Give yourself peace of mind with our cardiac MRI bundles at Specialty MRI. Personalized scans designed to give you clear, meaningful answers. No long waiting rooms. Scan today for peace of mind tomorrow. Call us at 314-899-2075. That's 314-899-2075.
The 46th Builder St. Louis Home and Garden Show, presented by James Hardie, is back.
This St. Louis tradition returns to America's Center March 6th through 8th.
Shop hundreds of local companies for home improvement deals.
Find ideas, inspiration, and expert advice.
Come tour amazing outdoor living spaces, learn from expert gardeners, and browse our spa showcase to turn your backyard dreams into reality.
The Home and Garden Show is back at America's Center March 6th through 8th.
Details at stlhomeshow.com.
I was ordering food from our usual place for the big meeting. My VP said, please God, no.
For workplaces suffering with corporate catering deficiency, every day's a struggle.
The food was always meh and over budget. Before Easy Cater, I thought that was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat CCD with a huge variety of restaurants, help meet dietary needs, and stay on budget. Use daily. One platform lets you save time and thrive. Ask your web browser about Easy Cater or start an order at easycater.com.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Attention business owners with a net income over $500,000. You need to work with a tax strategist that understands your entrepreneurial mindset. Download the most recent white paper written by E3 Consultants Group titled The Power of a Professional Tax Strategy Team. Go to e3wealth.com/radio to obtain a copy. It's time to learn about wealth and tax strategies that protect your personal and business economy. E3 is ready to help you think differently about your finances. Educate, empower, enlighten. That's the E3 difference.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey. I'm joined by my friend and St. Louis real estate expert, Gloria Liu, your home sold guaranteed realty. Gloria, everyone knows you for your guaranteed sold program, but you also help your sellers get multiple cash offers, right?
That's right. Some sellers are looking for speed, certainty, and to avoid repairs and open houses. I just helped a family in December to sell their parents' estate. They chose me because I offered 4 cash offers at our first meeting, which gave them options picking the best cash offer. Whether it's multiple cash offers or my guaranteed sold program, my sellers are always in control to sell fast and for the most money. It's my guarantees and my buyers in waiting program that set me apart from other realtors.
If you're ready to make your move without the hassles, guaranteed, call Gloria Liu right now at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit gloriahasthebuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX and the free Odyssey app. Now, did you see this? With Chris and Amy.
Oh, Amy Marks Coors.
Yes.
Hey, did you see the Redbirds? Illinois State is going to Arch Madness, which, well, I mean, everybody's in the conference. So they all get to be in the tournament this week here in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
They finished with the number 3 seed.
Oh.
Are you excited? I'm excited. Look, did you know that my college basketball team, Amy, has not been to the NCAA tournament since I was in college? So I'm hoping they go on a little bit of a run here and make it. But I'm looking forward to Arch Madness happening starting on Thursday.
Yeah, you do always look forward to that.
I love it.
It's good basketball time.
Birds will play at 8:30 on Friday.
I will say, I don't know, you saw this, but no one else did. But I'm pretty pumped, guys. I'm going to the Billikens game on Wednesday, the last home game. So I feel like this is kicking off for me, like the intense basketball season, right? Because like you're getting into, as you mentioned, Arch Madness, March Madness. It's fun.
Yeah, and the Billikens did win on Saturday, which is good because I think they're in the tournament still. I think they're going to get an at-large bid if they don't win the A-10, if they win the next couple of home games. I don't think they can afford another slip up here. So if they win Wednesday, when you're going, is it Wednesday? You said
Wednesday night.
If they win Wednesday when you're going, and then they win on the road at George Mason, I think they're locked in. I think. So
I never know.
Yeah,
because what was it? Virginia Tech. What was the big upset last year? Somebody was left out.
Oh, I don't. Well, I know Indiana State when Josh Schertz was the coach there.
Yeah, they
had something like 28 wins, 26 or 28 wins, and they got left out, and everybody felt like they should have been in.
I'm going to read this text. I know, kind of going back to the shingles conversation, but just because, did you see this text, Ronj? From a 314, I'm 40. I'm literally sitting here with chills because of how close your description of what happened to me is. Urgent care had no idea what it was, but put me on a high-dose steroid. I only had the ear and jaw thing, though. This is crazy. Meaning, yeah, I had shingles, not the rash. I love talking about rashes on radio, but just it was like in the nerves in my head. And, oh, my gosh, like I said, the ear pain, the blurry vision, chunks of hair fell out of the left side of my head. It's and the fatigue. And Chris, is this payback to Amy when you were scheduled for your colonoscopy? Didn't they make you worry? Didn't we take texts?
Yeah, I think you said that there was a high likelihood I was going to die during it.
Well, no, I don't think high likelihood, a likelihood.
Mm-hmm.
But we could die right now. You never know.
Well, sure. I could die in the middle of a break.
Well, we've got the audio for it.
Amy, did you see another kid got stuck in one of those claw machines?
They had to have told him or her, right? They had to say, this is the claw machine. It's the same place. It's the Veta.
The Veta Soccer Dome.
Yeah.
So several months ago, it happened where a kid got stuck in the claw machine. Or maybe, no, I'm sorry. It was just a couple of weeks ago. It was just a few weeks ago, actually. In the claw machine, it was a 2-year-old who crawled into the claw machine at the Veta Sports Soccer Dome. It took about 20 minutes before they were able to get him out of it. Well, it's happened again. What is going on with the
lid? Well, is there a lid on the thing? They're not climbing through the portal, are they?
I think they are. Because they said the child managed to wriggle inside one of the glass cabinets. So it would have to be up through the slot where the prize comes out.
I've done a lot of claw machines in my day. My mom said it was a problem when I was a kid because I was so obsessive. Like, let me try. I never saw a way to get in one of those things. They're pretty closed up.
Yeah.
You couldn't even stick your arm in.
Well,
because if you were a kid and you could stick your arm in and grab a toy, you would stick your arm in and grab a toy.
You can't get your arm inside a vending machine.
Right.
But these are like bigger vending machine openings. So I never even tried to.
I feel like.
I don't know, what is it with kids trying to crawl into stuff? I know you want to explore, but don't explore like that.
I think Veta's not trying. Their claw machine.
Maybe Veta should take the claw machine out.
Or close it up. Tape it. Use duct tape.
The worst part about the claw machine is the claw is so weak, you couldn't lift the kid out of it with the claw.
I know. That's a good point.
Those claws are awful.
Have you seen in the malls, probably I think it was in China or something, where you become the claw? They strap you in and then you're the claw and they drop you in a giant claw machine and you pick things up?
No, I would do that.
I would do that.
Oh my God, I love it.
You wrap your body around the stuffed toys and try to grab as much as possible.
We need to get somebody on from the Veta Soccer Dome and tell us what in the hell's going on with their claw machine and why kids keep crawling in them.
Maybe we can get Sean Malone on it. The claw machine.
You love pianos, don't you?
I love pianos.
I do too. I always wish I knew how to play a piano.
Mm-hmm.
Never learned, never tried to learn, but still wish I could. I always wanted to be a Civil War buff. So Joe Jackson, who is the founder of Jackson Pianos, has an idea. He wants to put pianos in bars and restaurants around the area, trying to rebuild the piano culture in St. Louis. It's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
We're going to talk to Joe when we come back on KMOX.
For 100 years, KMOX has been a part of St. Louis. Now, those moments live on, preserved, remastered, and ready to be heard again. Discover KMOX from the Archives, a podcast featuring classic audio from a century of service.
Sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
The KMOX from the Archives podcast, available now at KMOX100.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
S&L Coins pays top dollar for your gold and silver coins, old currency, gold-filled jewelry, scrap gold and silver, silver plating, gold and silver bullion. Get a quote with a call to S&L at 544-3600. S&L Coins, 544-3600. Or visit S&L Coins at 9300 Gravois, just east of McKenzie. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 Saturday. Before you sell, call S&L 544-3600.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathy Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. Stewie, let's talk about refinancings, and let's just bottom line this. Everyone needs money at some point in their life.
You know what, Dave? There's so many different ways you can make money. Number one, go to a lower rate. If you financed over the last 3 years, chances are you're paying a higher rate than what you can today. Refinance with the Bagel loan, no closing costs at all. That's number one. Number two, a lot of people are concerned not about the cash flow, but overall interest that you're paying. Go from a 30-year to a 20-year. The rates are lower on a 20-year versus a 30-year. Save hundreds of thousands of dollars. And third is the really easy way. You need cash. I need cash. Take cash out. Refinance now. Take the money you need. Keep the payment the same. It's easy. It's simple. All with no closing costs with that Bagel loan.
If you're looking to save money, get a little cash to your pocket, and do it with the right person, give Stewie a call or a text on his personal cell phone, 314-324-4440, or Google the Bagel Loan, NMLS 226715.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It is 10 o'clock. We've got cloudy skies and 38 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth at a Pentagon briefing on Iran says the airstrikes took out that country's senior leadership and the mission to take out America's enemies. CBS News national security contributor Sam Vinograd has more.
I also think there was some conditioning for the American people that we are going to suffer more casualties and more fatalities. And I do think that the Secretary of War and that the Commander of the Joint Chiefs of Staff were trying to condition the American people that there is going to be more loss in the days and weeks ahead.
Vinograd said this briefing wasn't just intended for an American audience.
I do think there was a degree of messaging here, not just to the American people, but also to remnants of the Iranian regime, that the administration is prepared to continue this operation for a long time.
However, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth declared this is not Iraq, this is not endless. Gas prices are on the rise in the St. Louis region, rising almost 14 cents per gallon in the past week, according to Gas Buddy's survey of 983 stations in the city. The company says the average price per gallon is $2.88 today. That's about 20 cents higher than a month ago. The Supreme Court will hear arguments today in a major Second Amendment case over whether unlawful drug users can be barred from owning firearms. The dispute could further define how far gun rights extend under the court's recent rulings. We get more from CBS's Thane Rosenbaum.
The defendant is arguing that Second Amendment rights cannot be eliminated simply because of occasional drug use.
Lindsey Vonn is back home after she suffered a compound leg fracture in her first run at the Winter Olympics and almost lost that leg. She posted an update to Instagram with a photo cuddling her late pup Leo, who died while she was undergoing surgeries and recovering in Italy. From the KMOX business desk, the Papa John's near you may be closing. The company is planning to shut down about 300 underperforming stores across North America by the end of 2027. The chain has 37 locations in the St. Louis region, about 6,000 worldwide. Papa John's sales are down about 5% for the fourth quarter, according to the Business Journal.
Well, we've got a long-term rehab project starting Monday, weather permitting. I'm Roger Brand. It's the 370 Discovery Bridge they're going to be working on, and during the first week, they're going to be shifting the westbound lanes over to the eastbound superstructure, so there'll be two narrow lanes on that eastbound superstructure in each direction. Eventually, they'll have to rehab that eastbound bridge and shift traffic over to the westbound side. This entire project scheduled to run through the fall of 2027.
Right now, it's 38 degrees with cloudy skies. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
The Chris and Amy Show is video streaming now on KMOX's YouTube, X, and Facebook pages. Click and subscribe.
You know, for a song called The Piano Man, the harmonica guy won't shut up.
You really. And by the way, a couple of nights ago, I think it was on maybe a Wednesday, at about 2 a.m, outside my window, I hear people playing Piano Man as loud as possible.
On the piano?
Outside in the street.
Or like...
No, the song. It was like maybe in a car.
I will say, Piano Man sound, the later in the night it gets, Piano Man, you just have to sing along. I think it becomes even more moving
Even
at
after
2 a.m.
After the drinks.
Yeah, but I know who would know. That's Joe Jackson. He is the founder of Jackson Pianos. He's joining us in studio now. You're bringing back piano culture to St. Louis.
I am trying my hardest. Yes, I am doing everything I can to breathe life back into those old wooden beasts. Yeah.
So we're trying to breathe. Okay. Did we used to have a better or a bigger piano culture in St. Louis? And if we did, when did it start to deteriorate?
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. We did. We had a very powerful piano culture in St. Louis. We created the blues here. We created ragtime. We gave those mantles up to other cities. Memphis has taken blues from us. Ragtime is just kind of all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And we had Gaslight Square. We had the Chase. I mean, when I was a kid, there was always piano music at the Chase. People like Herb Drury, Dave Vinn, lots of different pianists that played all over. You could go out on a night and 4 or 5 places had a piano player. And the old heads that I know who are in their 80s now talk about how it used to be a thing where if they needed some cash, they would hit up some bars, make a few $100, playing piano here and there. That died in the really the 80s and the 90s. And the new way that we live now we don't really have that anymore.
So just to give people some context here and to set the table, about 13 years ago, you started donating pianos to local bars and restaurants. I love it that you called the initiative Keys to the Community.
That's very good.
That's very, very clever. I love that. And you've given more than a dozen refurbished pianos to different establishments. And then those establishments need to keep up their end of the bargain, which is providing steady work for pianists, whether it's local or visiting. And that is such an incredible mission. It makes so much sense, but also feels very niche. How did you think I'm going to make this happen and people would be open to it?
Well, so 13 years ago, I did my first push, and it really was mostly focused on Cherokee Street at that time and some other places because that's where we were located. I got waylaid by co-founding this thing called Pianos for People. So we took my Keys to Community program, we turned it into Pianos for People, and then I co-ran that for about 3 years, and then I got just bogged down by life. And so we're relaunching Keys Community again right now. I just blanked out on what your question was.
Oh, just about knowing that there would be a reception. I do that all the time when she's
talking.
I know.
It's Monday. It's Monday.
That there would be a good reception for establishments to say, yeah, we'll take a piano and we'll keep our end of the bargain up.
Yeah. So, that goes to like the way that we operate our company. I really do believe you put your money where your mouth is. If I was a plumber, I'd be going out and plumbing homes all over the north side as a way to get houses up and people living in them again. If I was a lawyer, I'd be working at the Southern Poverty Law Center, but I work on pianos. So what I do is I put pianos out everywhere. It's the only skill that I have. And my family will attest. I can't cook. I can't clean. I can repair.
Can they play the piano though?
My daughter and my son both play the piano.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. They both play. My wife is a ballet dancer and a yoga instructor. So she listens to the piano, but doesn't play it. So yeah, the thing is rubber meets the road right now. We've got an opportunity to really make a change. We've put pianos in places and brought a lot of different pianists to live permanently here. A couple right off the top of my head is Ethan Lewand, a very, very great boogie woogie player and ragtimer, and another guy named Chase Garrett. A number of other people have moved to St. Louis because they saw that we had bars with pianos that we put in those places, and they created jobs off the bat. One moved from Iowa, and another one moved from New York. They're here, they're hungry, they're young, they're looking to get more pianists here. And restaurants have never bounced back from the pandemic. And so what I'm trying to do is goose everything. I want to goose the music scene, the acoustic music scene, and I want to help goose the restaurant scene, because I also own a restaurant too. Not only do I own a piano rebuilding, moving, storage, refinishing, tuning company, I own a cafe that I built out of pianos. So the cafe, top to bottom, is made of recycled pianos, about 50 in total that I turned into a cafe. So
and it's noteworthy.
That's
the
noteworthy.
Name.
Yeah. So, how there's a confusion that happens with restaurants right now. Musicians show up and they think the restaurant's supposed to provide an audience. The restaurant thinks a musician's going to bring an audience. I'm trying to have conversations with both parties to come to an agreement that you all are responsible for bringing music. And I'm going to put the piano down in the middle of this conversation and say, here's the instrument. Musicians bring an audience. Restaurant, you bring an audience too. And combined, we'll have an audience that's strong enough to really give our music scene a big shot in the arm. And so that's what it needs.
The goal here is, if there's an establishment that wants a piano, you will help get them one, and then it's up to them to provide a player.
Yeah, so exactly. We have lists of players that we can recommend. So basically, I have around 200 pianos. I've got a manufacturing facility in Old North. It's 22,000 square feet that I have hundreds of pianos in. I pick them up. I pick a piano for a bar. Maybe have a pianist help me pick it out. I clean it, restore it, tune it, get it all ready, and I deliver it. All of that for free. It's about a $1,600 job. That's my gift to them. In exchange, they have to pay livable wages. I'm not telling them what that is. That's up to them, because I can't go into somebody's pocketbook and see what they really got and what they're willing to pay. But I'm asking them to use their best judgment and not just say, we're going to put a tip jar out and give you a burger. You got to pay some kind of wage and a tip jar in combination to where we have musicians making actual living wages at these establishments. If I find out that they are taking advantage of musicians, I pull the piano out, I take it away.
So how do you get the funding to refurbish these pianos? You're not paying for it out of pocket, are you?
I am paying for it out of pocket. Yeah,
you are.
I am. I that's my Achilles heel. I have a lot of ideas and I fund everything out of my own pocket. I am broke. I'm always broke, but I've been doing this for 3 decades. I am so used to being broke. I can't imagine what it's like to not be broke. So no, I do this all out of my own pocket. I have no non-for-profit established. Everything we do is out of Jackson Piano's budget. And the eventual idea is to not be a parasitical company. My goal is that we are a company that's creating the work, creating the excitement, and then we can live off the fat of that eventually. Not just to show up and say, hey, I want to tune your piano to some piano that they bought from a store that went out of business 40 years ago. Because when I started, there was 11 stores. Now we've got basically a Yamaha store and a Steinway store. Unfortunately, the Steinway store is a very, very good Steinway store. So we are lucky in that regard that we have such a high quality Steinway store. But that's it. That's what we got. And myself. And so we have to make some real improvements, and we got to seed the earth to clean this up and get a music environment that's strong again.
So if an establishment's listening, and is thinking, I want to take part in this, jacksonpianos.com to reach out to you. But just to clarify a few things. So as you mentioned, a living wage for the pianists, for the musician. So, and then you're like, and if you find out that that's being taken advantage of, you'll pull the piano out. But I guess my question is it a certain number of nights a week that they need to have a pianist? Is it like, well, we can do music on Thursday, Friday, Saturday? How does that work? Or is it like, no, you have to employ a pianist every single day that you're open?
No, I leave it to them. I'm not here to micromanage these. People who own restaurants have their back against the wall.
Right.
It's 2%, 3% profit margins. I'm not here to cowtail them. I'm not here to look over their shoulder. I'm here to support them and help them. So whatever they can open up, great. I'll do everything. My company will support them. We'll send people their direction. We work with them a lot. We put them up on our website. We do promotional stuff. We spend a lot of money promoting these different restaurants throughout the month through our social media and our email blasts and things like that to create some excitement and shoot them over at these different areas. We've had a lot of success with places like Evangeline's Cajun Bistro Music House.
Central West End.
Oh yeah, that place they went through 3 pianos because they just tear them up, which is great. Don Bailey's an amazing asset to the city. We also have sister cities down in Soulard. The Blue Strawberry has got 2 of our instruments. One of them they purchased. There's a number of other places, and we direct people, as much as we can. We get butts and seats. There are limitations though, because again, like I said earlier, the pandemic, we never bounced back. We are so much below still where we were at before the pandemic came along. So we're just trying to get on even ground right now. And then hopefully we can start seeing those numbers get over where we were and back to the numbers of the 80s and the 70s where people really were showing up.
That Blue Strawberry you talk about is that's about a half a block from where Gaslight Square used to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I'm fascinated by the whole Gaslight Square thing, which I didn't really hear much about it when I was growing up, and it was already well gone by then.
I learned about it from my grandparents because they said it was hopping. It was a thing. And that's why this is so fitting to try to revive and preserve piano culture here in St. Louis, because obviously we have so much music. It runs so deep in our city.
Huge, very deep.
That it almost... and I also think our musicians, and you would probably agree with this, our local musicians, we outpunch our weight class. For as small of a city we are, the music we have locally.
It's people come from all over the world. So I'm working with these people in Scotland right now to bring this thing to St. Louis called a piano drome. The piano drome, you got to look it up because I can't even explain it. It's so wild. But we're trying to bring one here. And as we're going back and forth, the people in Scotland that I'm working with, they look at our media and what we're doing in St. Louis, and they are blown away by the scope of music that we have. And we get it all the time. People that come through St. Louis, we see ourselves as a sleepy little city. We're not. People that come through from other cities, they get their mind blown about how much music we have everywhere. We've got a really strong, vibrant music community. Nowhere near as strong as it was, but it still is strong. And so we haven't lost it yet. We really can bring it back. It's not dead. It's weak. It's not as strong as it once was, but we still have the roots to bring back something big and powerful again. And, in my opinion, what I'm trying to do here is St. Louis has got to be known as the place where ragtime and blues was born. We got to take those mantles back, and it needs to be something that every part of the United States knows they come by St. Louis to get in and really hear real blues and ragtime.
So as we say goodbye here, is there something that you want people here in St. Louis to know or do to maybe help you in the mission?
Yeah, show up. Show up. That's what I'm asking people to do.
You said there's a list on your website?
We will have a list up soon. Yeah. We mail lists out when people ask for them. It goes into butts and seats. You got to do that. When you hear about a place like Evangeline's or Alpha Brewing or the Blue Strawberry, you go there and you buy a drink, you buy dinner, you show up. That is how we bring it back. It's really, really simple. If you drop some cash, they'll succeed. They'll get better and better and better, and the whole city will grow with them.
JacksonPianos.com is your website.
Yes.
Is there another one you want people to know about?
Our cafe, noteworthystl.com. It's our cafe made out of pianos. We do piano yoga, piano performances. Yeah, piano yoga. It's pretty wild. You need to check that one out.
So you're lifting a piano while you do poses?
Basically.
Yeah, the piano's on your back.
Hey, we move pianos coast to coast, and we are the best, and that's because of all of our guys do piano yoga.
That's right.
Yeah.
Joe Jackson, founder of Jackson Pianos and Noteworthy Cafe. Thank you for coming in, and good luck.
Thank you for sharing our story.
It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint by a lot, backed with our 25-year transferable warranty. Paint a house, shield a home. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, steel, aluminum, cedar, and more. We are the only coating company selected by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where all 3 episodes concentrate on unpainted brick. If you maintain or own a business with a tired-looking building, you owe it to yourself to look at Rhino Shield and our beautifully durable color schemes. Evaluations are free. We're making buildings pop and be noticed again, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks, exceeding expectations every day with our products, people, and performance. Now is the time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or go to 877-25rhino.com and see how honest and transparent we really are. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I was ordering food for the office from the same few places for too long.
For workplaces suffering with office food fatigue, every day's a struggle.
Before starting EasyCater, I assumed having no good vegan options for Carl in finance was normal.
EasyCater is designed to treat OFF with a huge variety of favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Used daily, one platform lets you save time and shine. Ask your app store about EasyCater or start an order at easycater.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Over 35 years, I've seen it all. Car crashes, work injuries, defective products, medical mistakes, lives flipped upside down in an instant. But I've also seen something else, the power of fighting back, the power of winning. Over $30 billion recovered and counting. Size matters, reputation matters, results matter. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Call 877-WINDOWS. That's 877-WINDOWS. Or head to rbastl.com.
Turning 50 doesn't mean slowing down. It means getting smarter about your health. That's why we created Neovitin Men's 50 Plus Multivitamin. It's doctor formulated to support your energy, immune health, and overall vitality. Plus, it's made in the U.S. using the finest domestic and international ingredients. Take control of your health with supplements you can trust. Look for Neovitin Men's 50 Plus at your local Schnucks, Dierbergs, or online at neovitin.com. Neovitin, made for men who keep moving forward.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at Michael's Baths. Were you feeling a little embarrassed when the family came to visit for the holidays and all you could think about was your bathroom not quite being up to par? Now is the perfect time to plan ahead for a spring installation of a beautiful new bathroom. At Michael's Baths, we specialize in beautiful, safe bathroom remodels, from tub to shower conversions to full renovations, including paint and electrical work. Call 636-775-0800 or go to michaelsbaths.com. Mike is a great guy, does great work. That's michaelsbaths.com.
A century strong. The voice of St. Louis. KMOX.
Last night, Amy, was the premiere. It was the first episode of DTF St. Louis. You know DTF St. Louis? That's the show featuring Jason Bateman and David Harbour and Linda Cardellini, who was in Freaks and Geeks, and she was in a Mad Men season 2.
And DTF, if people are wondering, yes, it stands for that.
New show on HBO, and it started last night. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to give away any plot stuff.
Lovely.
But I have some notes about the show.
Can we say the genre, though, for people like me who watch the Hallmark Channel? And I said, oh, it's an erotic thriller.
Yes,
That's the genre.
Classified as an erotic thriller. And if you've seen the trailer, you kind of know there's a, you get the idea that something bad has happened, right? And it is supposed to take place in St. Louis. And I have some thoughts on the show.
Okay.
But it's really nothing about the plot because I am in. I mean, I watched the first episode. I thought it had a good ending, and I'm you know what? I'm ready to go.
So
I'm ready
DTF.
to go for yes, I am DTF with DTF. And so I will be watching the next episode, and hopefully it doesn't lose me. But I love all the actors in the show, so I have no choice but to keep going with it. But I had some observations about it.
Okay.
As it pertains to the St. Louis specific stuff. Okay, because it's supposed to take place here.
Mm-hmm.
And here's my first issue with the show. And if you don't want to know anything about this show, then come back to us in about 5 minutes. Okay?
Oh.
First of all, it takes place in a town they are calling Twyla, Missouri, which does not exist.
No.
And in the world of this show, it's just northwest of St. Louis. So it's supposed to be a suburb of St. Louis.
St. Charles is northwest.
It looks like on the map, and they do show a map at some point where it looks like it's closer than what St. Charles would be.
Like maybe Creve
okay?
Coeur or something. Yeah.
All right. So why make up a town?
I don't know.
Don't make up a town, because on the map at one point there you see Festus and Park Hills and you see Jeff City. So like they're using all of the St. Louis area places, right? But they've decided to make up a town. They also continually refer to the county as the suburbs. Nobody here in St. Louis, and these are all things, by the way, that nobody outside of St. Louis is going to care about when they watch this show.
You mean officially refer it to the suburbs?
Yeah. Because we refer to all of the suburbs as the county pretty much, or St. Charles.
Yeah.
We don't say the suburbs. Nobody says that here.
Like on the weather, on the news, they say out in the county. They don't say out in the suburbs.
Which
Correct.
brings me to one of my other gripes about the show.
All right.
The lead character, Jason Bateman, is a meteorologist. That's the character he plays. And at one point, there's this storm, and they show him out in the streets where the storm is going on. And the graphic says St. Louis Metro County. Have you ever heard anybody in this area call anything St. Louis Metro County?
No. The bi-state area, yes.
Yeah.
The county,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The city, I've never heard of the Metro County. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Is that what they call it in Kansas City?
I don't know what they do there.
Is he from Kansas City? No.
Bateman? No, you're thinking of Jason Sudeikis.
I am.
Also, there's a point where the county sheriff's department is heavily involved, or going to be heavily involved in this show. And at one point, they show the outside of the building, which isn't the actual county building, which is in Clayton. It's not. It's something else, because they literally filmed nothing in St. Louis or the St. Louis area. But in the background, immediately behind the building, is the arch. So they've got the very top of the arch, indicating it's just a couple of blocks away. So the arch is not a couple of blocks away from St. Louis, or from the St. Louis County Sheriff. And look, again, these are all things that nobody's going to care about when they watch this show in New York or they watch it in Florida, unless you've been to St. Louis, and then you'll pick up on them and go, oh, that's not.
It's insult to injury. It is. Because it feels like the show is not necessarily, it wasn't chosen because they love St. Louis and it's such a great city, right? You're like, where would be the most hilarious place to put erotica and people who have any kind of weird adventure? I know. How about the most boring city in the world?
So the creator did talk about that, and he wasn't mocking us. What he was saying is, we're trying to show that stuff like this, that these mistakes, and he called them mistakes, they happen everywhere, not just in coastal cities, not just in exciting cities, but they can happen in the Midwest too. And it doesn't have to be a big town. And I like that concept. I just wish they would have filmed some of it here. Even when they show Market Street, it's not our Market Street.
It says Market Street spelled out.
By the way, one little Easter egg I did like. The community pool in the show is called the Kevin Klein Community Pool.
That's funny.
I did like that.
That's funny.
Anyway, DTF St. Louis. Like the first episode. Can't wait to see more. Just wish they would have gotten some of the St. Louis area stuff a little better. Speaking of St. Louis area stuff, Ollie Marmol.
Man.
He is the Cardinals manager, and he's going to be the Cardinals manager for another few years, unless something happens. Matt Pauley will tell us about the extent, like a firing or he quits, which I doubt. Matt Pauley, host of Sports Open Line and Rush Hour Sports, will be joining us next to talk about Ollie's extension. That's when we come back on KMOX.
Hey guys, it's Dave from The Glover Show, trying to explain The Glover Show. So when I was a younger man, I used to go to happy hour almost every night, and I loved it. And I've always thought of my show as being like happy hour. It's always interesting. It's often silly, but not always. There are real things to talk about. I am amongst friends, politics, and personal things. So that's what it is, really. It's happy hour for thousands of us every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. And I hope you'll tune in and join the happy hour.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
36 degrees, pretty dreary out there. Perfect day for coffee and KMOX radio. Occasional rain and drizzle this morning. Otherwise, just cloudy and chilly the rest of the day. A high of 46. Tonight, cloudy, maybe some showers late. A low of 40. Weather sponsored by Financial and Tax Strategies.
Retirement shouldn't feel like balancing your checkbook while blindfolded. I'm Gary Goldberg, and my team helps you see the big picture so you can retire younger, richer, and with less anxiety. Because guessing is not a strategy. Tune in to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
When it comes to lighting, Graybar goes beyond parts and products. We help contractors turn plans into smart designs, manage kitting and deliverables, and navigate local codes so you can stay on time and on budget. Smart, scalable, job site ready. That's not just lighting. That's like kicking your project into Graybar mode. Yep, Graybar does that.
Saving money is hard, but what's worse is when you save all year, hoping to use that money for a nice vacation, and then your AC unit dies and that money is gone. Now imagine yourself in retirement. You've saved a nice amount, hoping to use it for fun, but every time you take money out of your 401k, you get hammered in taxes. It's a sad fact, but your number one expense in retirement may not be cruises and trips. It could be taxes. At the All Financial Group, we believe in keeping more of your money where it belongs, with you. Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Tuesday, March 10th and Thursday, March 12th. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. You must qualify to attend. Call today to reserve your spot, 636-230-8824, or go online to yourmoneymattersstl.com. And services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents nor representatives may give any tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found Tax Relief Advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
It's exhibition preseason baseball play today as the Cards face the Marlins. Pre-game 11:55, first pitch 12:05, and you can hear the game streaming on Cardinals.com.
Here's a swing and a miss. Fletcher strikes out. Much needed that with 2 on, nobody out.
Yo, Paulie!
Paulie's great, man.
Go, Paulie!
What'd you do for Paulie? Anything?
Me, Paulie! I was responsible!
Paulie, we're here because of you.
Yeah, Cardinals spring training baseball continues this afternoon, and we've got Matt Pauley with us, who joins us from Florida in Jupiter, where the Cardinals continue that and getting ready for the regular season, which will begin at the end of this month. And before we get to actual baseball that matters, Matt Pauley, yesterday we got the official news that Oliver Marmol will remain the Cardinals manager. He gets contract extension through 2028, and there is a club option for 2029. So they have locked up their manager, and if there was any question as to whether or not Chaim Bloom intended to move on after being on the job for about a year or so, it sure does not look like he's going to move on, and that he does want Ali to be the manager of this team.
Yeah, it's a great partnership, and it's not something that was fully expected because Chaim got here, and if Chaim wanted to move on from Ali, he had full permission from ownership to be able to do that. But I think as Chaim and Ali started to talk more and more, they realized they were very much on the same page. Chaim brought Ali in on a lot of decisions that have been made with staffing and things like that. So I think, people look at all these things that Chaim has done in terms of trying to reset this team and get it moving forward and get a lot of talent into the organization. Obviously, some things are changing. But that being said, the Cardinals are really confident that Ali Marmol's the right guy for this job, and Chaim certainly agreed with that when he came in.
Well, I tell you something. I know that when we have him on Gas House Gang, he's always very open, and you don't always agree with every decision that's made, and he understands that, I think. And what I do appreciate about him is that he does appear to have the desire to continually learn and change, and I'm not sure that every manager in that position does.
No, he listens a lot. He's a really, really good listener, and I appreciate that about him. And he's the other thing that he loves talking baseball, and I think he loves teaching baseball. So there is never a move that he makes that he can't fully explain why he made the move. That doesn't mean you always agree with him. There's things that happen inside of the game that I'll disagree with at times, but I'm always really confident when it comes to Ali that there is a very good sound reason for every move he makes. And I don't think that's true about every manager in Major League Baseball. I think sometimes they just do things to do them, and they're so locked in on the details and the moments and trying to find the edges and win in the margins, like all those cliches. They do those, and Ali's the right guy for that. And by the way, he's a really good teacher. And him and this coaching staff, there's a bunch of guys who have who came up in player development, and there's going to be a lot of developing players this year at the major league level because of the youth of this team. So I'm really happy that he's going to be sticking around. I didn't think they had to extend him. Like, I would not have been overly worried if they went into the season and he was technically in a lame duck. And if they just kind of said, let's see how it looks with Chaim and Ali going through a season together in with that dynamic of being manager and president of baseball operations. So I was fine either way. I'm not trying to talk out both sides of my mouth. I'm glad he got the extension, but if he wouldn't have gotten the extension, I don't think that would have meant really anything for next year. But they've got him locked in now. He's under control for 4 years now. He has the final year of his pre-existing contract. Then there's 2 years added onto that, and then a club option. I don't think there's probably many managers out there that a club has 4 years of control on, and that's what they've got now with Ali.
Matt, this goes for any team, any sport. The roster's the roster. I mean, that's what the manager has to deal with, play the cards they're dealt. And we talked earlier in the show about baseball managers, especially, maybe do most of their maneuvering with the bullpen, or at least, bullpen management's a big deal for that. How would you weight that aspect of managing, the bullpen management, the lineup management, with also a manager having the clubhouse, the ear of the clubhouse, and being able to make the most out of the players that they have? Because obviously they're two sides of the same coin and go into exactly an impact that a manager has.
Yeah. So I think a manager has a bigger impact on a team based off the culture that is set and the stuff that's going on at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Is there still an impact of moves that are made? Of course there are. But that is, the roster is, you have good players, you're going to win. Now, the one area, to your point, Amy, the one area where a manager can probably most impact wins and losses with decisions in game is what you do with the bullpen. And my belief is that Ollie's greatest strength as an in-game manager is his ability to manage a bullpen. And really, that's inarguable. I was going back and forth with some guy on Twitter yesterday, and they said that, Ollie makes terrible in-game decisions. So I said, give me an example. And they said, yeah, he doesn't know how to manage a bullpen. And that is false. That is like inarguably false. And in fact, a lot of people who don't like Oliver Marmol for various reasons still acknowledge the fact that one of his strengths is managing a bullpen. So if you sit here and you tell me that Oliver Marmol doesn't know how to manage a bullpen, I'm kind of done with you at that point, because it clearly shows that you just don't like him and you're just kind of making stuff up, because there's a lot of metrics out there that you can look and see what a team should be getting out of their bullpen and what they actually do. And over the last 2 years, the Cardinals and Oliver Marmol have maximized their bullpen production basically more than just about every team in baseball.
One of my favorite things about the last 24 hours, Matt, is your tweet where you tweeted a photo of the press room where they were having the Ollie press conference with Chaim Bloom and Bill DeWitt. And you showed that there were a bunch of Cardinals players who came into the press room for that press conference. And so very clearly they were there to be supportive. And there was a guy who tweeted at you and said, it looks like they were voluntold to be there. And, you gave him a good Rogerin. So I love this, because you're right. I agree with you on this, that I think people, when it comes to baseball managers in particular, once they've made up their minds, that's it. Forget it. You can never change their mind. They've already decided he's no good because the team wasn't very good, so it must be his fault. That's just standard baseball fandom. That's how it is. And no matter how many times you try to explain it, they will not let it sink.
And what frustrates me, there are some people who are on social media and they are critical of Ollie and some of the moves that he makes, and they make really good points. And I really actually enjoy reading those tweets because it challenges me and it makes me think through some things. There's some things I saw a tweet yesterday from somebody who talked about how often intentional walks are used and how often sacrifice bunts are put down and how that can be a little, and it made me think. So like when people are critical of him in that area, I think it's thought-provoking and I think it's healthy and I think it's really good. I think a lot of people don't like Oliver Marmol because he replaced a popular guy in Mike Schilt. He wears his hat backwards sometimes. Sometimes he doesn't wear a jersey in the like stupid reasons, just because god awful stupid reasons not to like a manager. So then they like that, they extrapolate that out to they wouldn't say it out loud, but what it really turns into is Oliver Marmol wears his hat backwards, so he doesn't know how to manage a bullpen, which is just dumb.
Well, but there are a couple of people on Twitter who raise the point that, you shouldn't like a manager just because he's a nice guy.
Sure.
So obviously that's what's going on here, don't you think?
Well, I mean, he is a nice guy.
Players like him just because he's nice.
That's not why players like him. And he is so blunt and direct with players. And actually, that's what, when you are a professional athlete and you get to the highest level of competition, you don't get here by being babied. You get here by people making you better, and you want somebody who's going to make you better. And I really think a lot of people who don't like Oliver Marmol would be surprised to know just how much old school kind of red ass he's got in him. And that's something that doesn't come out all the time.
See, well, I was going to say, to that point, Ron, I pictured the conversation with Chaim Bloom, maybe the DeWitts. He's like, Ollie's pretty nice. Like, how nice is he? He's nice enough that we should lock him up for 4 years, probably.
Yeah,
he's that nice. I mean, you don't get a
That's
nice.
the conversation that
That's
takes
how
place.
I pictured it. He was so nice
Oh,
that
yes.
they had to lock him up for
We'll
4
take
years.
all my money.
Yeah.
Oh.
You were going to
And
say
here's another
Ron.
one. Here's another one, Matt. I want you to respond to this. It says,
Okay.
okay, this is a quote. This is a tweet
Oh.
from somebody named
At Matt.
at
To
Matt.
Yeah.
At Matt. It
I
says,
stopped responding about halfway through the day
No,
yesterday. I was just done.
respond to this one. So crappy players like playing for a crappy manager. Cool.
That's pretty thoughtful.
Respond to that one.
I would love for that person to walk into the Cardinals clubhouse and make that statement. Go tell Alec Burleson he's a crappy player.
Have
Go
you
tell
s-
Mason Wynn he's a crappy player. Go tell JJ Weatherholt he's a crappy player and see how that's going to go for
It
him.
might have been like a Jimmy Kimmel thing, but it was one of those late night show, Man on the Street, where they had fans like these fans tweeting, walk up to a camera and say, how do you feel about this guy? Like, a player. Like, you're terrible. You suck. You're the worst. Blah, blah, blah. I can't stand you. And then they pull a cardboard picture away and the actual player is there. And as soon as they see the real player, they become fawning fans. Like,
Yes.
oh my gosh, it's so nice to meet you. Wow. Like, oh, thank you, man. You're great. Like, it's just a bunch of tough guys behind a keyboard.
Yeah, that's what it is. And I need to be more disciplined and not engage as much. It's a weakness of mine. I'm self-aware enough to know my own weaknesses, and that is a weakness of mine that I engage way too much with people on social media. But you know what? It just goes along. I'm used to it because I do the post-game show where I'm just engaging with people all the time. So I just extend that into my social media existence.
Okay, Matt, respond to this one.
Oh,
This is from David, who says, don't buy the love playing for him. A few guys have already spoken out against him, and even more so, the lack of hustle and play on the field showed they do not love playing for him.
Okay, so
Respond to
I
David.
started. This was this was a breakthrough moment for me yesterday because I started responding to that tweet, and I shut Twitter off at that point and said it's not worth it. But my question back to him would have been, who in the world has spoken out against him? Like, that is just patently false. And don't bring up that stupid athletic survey where like 5 out of 145 players or something mentioned him and a couple of them couldn't even name him. Like, that's not
In all seriousness, with you, Chris Ranji, Kevin Wheeler, sports guys engage or don't engage right on Twitter because it's just it's constant, the trolls. I feel like Matt, you do a good job. You respond. Ranj, I think, lives for it. He loves the trolls. And one thing, speaking of self-awareness, that I have to be better at is like not taking the trolls personally. Because my goodness, the junk that you guys put up with, and I think Ranj thrives on it. He thrives on the trolls. I mean, you did that in Chicago, and I imagine Chicago trolls are even worse.
Oh, they're so bad.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a whole, almost like a cult for people to call in after White Sox games. And I feel like I'm learning from the sports guys. Oh yeah, a lot of these people are just insane or idiots.
Matt, here's another one. This is from Tony.
Stop it.
Tony says, this has become embarrassing. We are now lower than the Pirates, and you can't even argue this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, why are you doing this to me? Why are you throwing?
I think it's good.
Respond to that.
This is eye-opening.
Tell Tony to get bent.
But no, I like Tony can believe what Tony wants to believe. I'm in a chill mood today.
Yeah.
Can't you tell?
And
Yeah.
I will say finally,
Yes.
you would rather have a bunch of angry people than a bunch of apathetic people.
That's right.
Yeah. I have no problem with the passion. It's just I wish people would take factual information and sometimes. And the vast majority of people I deal with, most Cardinal fans are great. Like we're talking about a very vocal minority of people that just happen to bug the living what out of me.
Hey, buddy. You know what? You have my permission. You can tell them all to go straight to hell.
I won't do that. That's a little extreme for me.
Okay. Well, think about it. One of these days you're going to snap. We've heard about your hijinks in Walmarts and whatnot. So one of these days.
One of these days.
All right.
Thanks,
enough.
Matt.
Thanks, Matt Pauly.
Things are great in spring training. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Thanks for having me on.
It's Chris and Amy show on KMOX.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
In St. Louis, the weather can change in an instant. One day, you're under a thunderstorm warning. The next,
oh boy, it's snowing.
Stay prepared for whatever Mother Nature throws your way. When weather threatens, the KMOX Storm Center has expert forecasts and live reports here to keep you safe and informed. Don't get caught off guard. Know your weather. Sponsored by
Saliga Heating and Cooling.
Dreaming of college but worried about the cost? The Together Foundation is here to help. The Together Foundation is awarding 5 $1,500 scholarships to St. Louis area students who are ready to take the next step toward their future. Applying is simple, but time is limited, as applications will be accepted through March 31st. Learn more or apply at togethercu.org/scholarship. That's togethercu.org/scholarship. This community message has been brought to you by Together Credit Union.
Well, college basketball, as you know, is nonstop. There are big games and even some, especially now with the end of the regular season coming up, the conference tournaments coming up, the NCAA tournaments. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. So here's how it works. You can build any college hoops parlay you like. The early tip, the rivalry game. You like those late night West Coast games? You can put those in too. Just mix the spreads, the totals, the props, whatever fits the read you are making on the night, and just apply your profit boost and instantly bump up that potential payout. Go safe. You can get bold if you want to. Go with a team that you've been following all season long. It's your parlay, your style. Just go to FanDuel.com/Missouri. FanDuel.com/Missouri and get started. FanDuel, play your game. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Minimum 2-leg parlay required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable boost builder tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amounts. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Make your reservations now for the 2026 Women of Achievement Award Luncheon, presented by KMOX. The award luncheon takes place Tuesday, May 19th at the Ritz-Carlton, St. Louis, and celebrates 10 outstanding volunteers from across the St. Louis metropolitan region. Doors open at 11:15, and the luncheon runs until 1:30 p.m. Reservations are just $60 per person. Sign up and find more details now at KMOX.com/events.
That's the sound of James adding long-lasting Gain scent boosters to his laundry this morning. Several hours later, James sniffs the irresistible scent of Gain on his shirt. Gain. Several hours later, James has even caught the attention of his mother-in-law, and she never gives him attention.
Ooh, you smell amazing, James.
Oh, thanks, Mom. I love you too.
I never said that.
Add Gain scent boosters to your laundry. Add joy to your day.
Too many tools, too much stress, and way too many bills.
Odoo replaces it all. One connected platform for every part of your business, so you can work faster, smarter, and for less. Odoo, the only software you'll ever need. Try it free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120. Visit Lance, DRURY law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Chris Ronchi, Amy Mark scores, because life is too short for boring radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
You know, we have tickets to give away to see Zach Bryan.
What?
Yeah, Zach Bryan is coming to the Dome Saturday, and we have a pair of tickets to give away for that show. We'll do it before the show is over.
Excellent.
Don't start calling in now. You got to be listening for your chance to win, and we will tell you when that is.
Hey, Ron, you gotta tell folks, because we were talking to Matt Pauley, and man, the text line exploded with people supporting Matt against the online trolls. Teresa texts in, I always felt that Chaim and Ollie would eventually become partners in time. There will always be the nitpickers that will complain about shallow, utterly ridiculous things like bored, angry school children. Oh, well, we don't waste our time on those comments. It was already a waste of time to read it. Ha ha, Teresa. So thank you, Teresa. She's not had it with the trolls, but you dealt with your fair share of trolls in Chicago.
Oh, well, Sox fans are a different breed. They're already angry because the ownership has not done right by them for many, many years. Let's just put it like it is. Reinsdorf's not a particularly good owner.
Yeah, you criticize the team.
Yeah, so when I was doing that job, same job that Matt is doing with the Cardinals, I did the same thing for the Sox. And post-game calls, and people would get really, and they would come at me, like they would get mad at me. And so I used to get these comments from people who would say, well, you're saying whatever the team is telling you to say. You're not being honest. And this is the truth. This is the God's honest truth. I would relay to them that the only time the White Sox ever told me to say or not say anything was I had one guy who said, hey, everything's great. Could you please not call our fan base idiots? I said, sure. I would, because sometimes I wasn't calling the fan base idiots, but sometimes these callers would be so stupid. Like the angry post game, they just blew a game caller could be so dumb. And then they would start yelling, and I'd get, I would get worked up too. And I'd be like, you are an idiot. Like I would say, you're an idiot. Yeah. And so one time they were like, could you just not call them idiots? I'm like, you know what? That's a great point. I will not.
I love that so much that's the one time the Sox ever tried to, hey, buddy.
They stuck up for the fans.
They stuck up. Don't call them idiots.
They thought I was, being told what to say to them. But yeah, I mean, I think if you do read the comments on Twitter, and I do it just for fun, and sometimes I get heated, like, how could you, this is a thing that I used to say. Sometimes I don't understand how people can think the things they think. Like, how do you have that thought in your head rolling around? I don't get it.
That's very applicable across the board today.
Oh my God. Oh my God, is it ever? Anyway, go get him, Matt Pauley.
Retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General
yes.
Mark Hertling joins us next to talk about what's going on with Iran.
Chris and Amy on KMOX.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan. If it's cold outside, the team at Morelli Tuck Pointing is still busy. During colder months, Morelli can inspect any exposed brick inside your house. If your basement has a stone or black wall, Morelli can remove the worn-out mortar from that wall and replace it with new mortar. This tuck pointing work will reinforce your foundation, prevent water from entering your home, and thwart pests. This is a great time to get the inside of your garage inspected. And the same goes for your brick or stone fireplace. I've used Morelli Tuck Pointing to repair the chimneys, walkways, and walls of 2 homes here in St. Louis. The Morelli bids are fair, their crews are super polite, and they clean their job sites. Don't take my word for it. Check out the reviews on Google. Winner of the BBB Torch Award and the Next Door Neighbor Fave Award, 35 years in business, an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
When was the last time you watched your home movies? Disasters strike unexpectedly. Every year, American families lose the one thing they'd run back into a burning building for, their family's memories. Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Adam. We started Legacy Box to help save your family's most important recorded moments so you don't have to worry.
Load Legacy Box with your old movies, film reels, and shoeboxes of photos.
We work our digitizing magic, converting those memories right to the cloud so they're safe and accessible forever.
It's fast, we always send your originals back, and it's done right here in the USA.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box. Better Homes and Garden, Real Simple, and Inc. Magazine are all talking about Legacy Box.
New York Times columnist David Pogue says, have them digitized. I wish I'd done it sooner. Take action. Save your family's memories today with Legacy Box.
Go to legacybox.com/value to get an incredible 50% off your Legacy Box. That's legacybox.com/value for 50% off while supplies last. legacybox.com/value.
The 46th Builder St. Louis Home and Garden Show, presented by James Hardy, is back.
This St. Louis tradition returns to America's Center March 6th through 8th.
Shop hundreds of local companies for home improvement deals.
Find ideas, inspiration, and expert advice.
Bring the whole family to watch the adrenaline-pumping off-axis stunt show and the canines in the clouds frisbee dogs.
The Home and Garden Show is back at America's Center March 6th through 8th.
Details at stlhomeshow.com.
Start your summer early at the St. Charles Boat Show, March 5th through 8th at the St. Charles Convention Center. The top marine dealers from the Lake of the Ozarks will be on site with the newest boats, personal watercraft, docks, and accessories. Step aboard, compare models, and find the perfect ride for your family. Special show pricing and experts ready to help make your boating dreams a reality. Visit lakeoftheozarksboatdealers.com for more information.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
At 11 o'clock, we have cloudy skies, 37 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch. In the news, the war in Iran bringing changes to a local Air Force base. Scott Air Force Base has suspended the Trusted Traveler Program, which allows authorized Department of Defense personnel to vouch for passengers in their vehicle. In a statement, Scott Air Force Base says visitors can still enter the base, but must present a real ID, passport, or social security card with a photo and undergo a criminal background check. Gas prices rising in the St. Louis region. Average gas prices rose by almost 14 cents per gallon in the last week. That's according to a Gas Buddy survey of 983 stations. The company says the average price per gallon, $2.88 today, and found the region's current gas prices are almost 20 cents per gallon higher than they were a month ago. The number of teens not getting enough sleep in the nation is growing. Researchers say the problems across the board. Columbia University professor Mark Olfson warns that can cause mental health issues.
The rates were higher among teens who are struggling with substance use problems or have heavy social media use. Their rates were going up, but so were the rates of those that don't have those risk factors.
Researchers found that the number of students getting less than 7 hours a night and less than 5 hours a night rose about 7% between 2007 and 2023. From the KMOX Business Desk, Missouri rolling out a verification program to help consumers identify licensed marijuana dispensaries amid a surge of unlicensed hemp shops selling chemically altered products. The state's health department says one of the biggest selling points of a licensed dispensary is something most shoppers probably never consider: what's actually been done to test the product before it hits the shelf. Amy Moore is Missouri's Director of Cannabis Regulation.
We're testing for potency. We're testing for the cannabinoids so that you can know exactly what's in there. And then we also review and approve packaging so that the packaging is transparent and true. You can be assured that what you're looking at on that packaging is what is inside the packaging.
The Verified Dispensary Initiative launches as Missouri's Attorney General has separately taken enforcement action against unlicensed businesses selling unregulated cannabis product. The weather sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis.
After a damp start, it'll stay cloudy and chilly with a high of 46 this afternoon. A bit of rain returns late tonight, otherwise cloudy and not as cold, low 40. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zare on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Cloudy skies, 37 degrees now downtown at the Arch. Midwest winters take a real toll on your garage door. Let friends at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis come out and perform their 26-point tune-up on your garage door and opener. It's just one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Schedule online at overheaddoorstlouis.com. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Chris and Amy now. The Dave Glover Show at 1 on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores with you, and you are seeing headlines about Iran and the U.S. and Israeli strikes there. So we are honored to welcome in retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General Mark Hertling, taking time out of a busy day. General Hertling, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Amy, always a pleasure, even under dire circumstances. It's good to be with you today.
Thank you so much. And I know this is a huge topic, so I'm going to just set it up for you. Knowing the leaders that were taken out and where we stand right now, what is the situation in your assessment?
Well, the strikes are continuing, Amy. It's the third day of the conflict. We heard from the Secretary of Defense and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs this morning that outlined the kinetic plan in terms of what is happening. And what I mean by that is the military plan. But I think there's a whole lot more for the nation to understand. The current situation after 3 days of strikes, there's an indicator that there's been over 2,000 air sorties as well as launches from naval ships in the region. And there's certainly quite a few of both of those pieces of equipment. The Air Force has deployed almost every single one of their combat airplanes, from fighters all the way up to bombers. And some of them coming from positions in the United States for a long over-ocean flight. The Navy has had 2 carrier strike groups, one in the Mediterranean and one in the Arab Sea. So they are pounding the country of Iran from multiple directions. They seem to have thwarted all the air defense capabilities within Iran. They've hit multiple types of targets, from headquarters to military intelligence targets to headquarters of the Revolutionary Guard Corps to the Bejis, which is another type of organization within Iran. And as we all heard on probably Saturday night, I think it was, early Sunday morning, that the Iranians did announce the fact that their Ayatollah and others had been killed in one of the initial strikes that was conducted early in the morning on Saturday, Tehran time. So that's the military situation. The strikes are going to be continuing, according to the president. He has changed his comments on that from a couple of more days to now it's 4 to 5 to 6 weeks. But there are some things that are going to thwart some of that. So giving an update across the board from the military perspective, it has been a good tactical and operational plan, but that doesn't mean that the strategy is going to be successful. We've learned that in past wars, that it doesn't matter how good you are at striking targets and hitting targets. It's what happens in terms of some of the bigger issues in terms of what is the end state requirements, what are the objectives, and what is the overarching strategy. So I'll stop there, and you can ask me another question. I'll try and address those. Sorry for the long.
No,
update.
that's
I'm used to those situation reports from the military. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's why we have you, because nobody knows it better. And Pete Hegseth today said that they didn't intend for a regime change, but the regime has changed. I find it hard to believe that it is already done and will be done cleanly. So where does that stand? Has the regime changed in Iran?
No, and I would 100% disagree with the Secretary of Defense on that. The regime has not changed. The regime has been decapitated. What happens next will determine whether or not the regime changed. And that's one of the issues in terms of the strategies, Chris. You know, when you're talking about this kind of operation, when you're going after the leadership to try and kill them of a country, it will cause chaos if there isn't someone there to take their place. You know, and we're talking about a country that has been dependent on the leadership of the Ayatollahs for the last 47 years, since 1979, when the revolution took place. Now, the president, in his early announcements, said he wanted the people of Iran to stand up and take charge. Well, I got to tell you, and I've got quite a bit of scar tissue from regime change operations in Iraq. That's a whole lot easier to say than it is to do. When you're talking about just asking the people to stand up and take charge, it would be like taking out all the government officials in St. Louis and saying, okay, people in St. Louis, take charge. How do you do that? I mean, who's running the security forces? Who's running the different initiatives within any kind of government? How do you keep the laws flowing? What kind of things do you do? And, you know, so on and so on. I could go on for days in terms of the implications of taking out the leaders of a government. But it's very difficult in a regime change operation to determine who the next leaders are. There are several people who are currently vying for that leadership role inside of Iran, but none of them have been declared the leader. And therefore, the people who are most of the citizens of Iran are very happy to have the Ayatollah gone. Not all of them, but many of them. But there are certainly some within the Iranian Republic who were beholden to the former Ayatollah, and they are still very active in the government. So you're going to have that contested fight between different people who want to see their country go in different directions. And a regime change doesn't take place unless someone actually takes the place of the regime you just changed, if you get my drift on that one. That has not occurred yet.
General Hertling, with Iran being the largest state sponsor of terror globally, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, and the head of the snake being chopped off with these leaders being killed. Obviously, Israeli intelligence had permeated into Iran and Tehran. Is it safe to say that they believed killing those leaders would make the Middle East safer, make them safer, regardless of the next day of regime change and what did or did not happen?
Yeah, I don't know. I certainly can't speak for the Israeli government, but what I might suggest is, did Mr. Netanyahu's government think it was going to make it safer, or did he just demand that they quit firing missiles at him? And that can also be accomplished if you create chaos inside of that country and cause them to implode. So is it a matter of saying, oh, gee, well, we killed the Ayatollah and a bunch of his lackeys. Now they're going to quit raining missiles down on us. If that was the case, then that's great. But you can't predict what's going to happen in combat. So if there is, in fact, an implosion of the citizenry because there is no leadership, and, what I've seen in countries that have had regime change operations where I've been, there is confusion and chaos and dysfunction. And that creates even more problems internal to the country that could potentially cause a civil war, that could result in massive amounts of migration or, exits from the country, and it could lead to many Iranian people just fleeing for their lives into other Gulf states, possibly into Europe. So, there's a whole lot of second and third order effects that you have to account for when you plan these kind of operations. And I'm not sure all of them have been planned for.
So Pete Hegseth today, again, also said that we were addressing the 4 service members who have died so far. And he said, and I believe the president yesterday even said that Americans are going to die, but they're going to keep that at a minimum. Is there any way for this to happen and us to just pull out completely and say, well, we've done it, we've done what we need to, and no more service members die? Or are we looking at more casualties coming?
I don't want to predict anything in that basis, Chris, but what I will tell you is, again, I'm going to refer to my past scar tissue. There were many of us that did not think we should go into Iraq. I was one of those. And then for the next 12 years, I and 3 members of my family did repeated tours there. I will also tell you the Secretary of Defense back in 2003 said the Iraqis were going to welcome us as liberators and that it would be a fight that we could win very quickly and handily, and there wouldn't be that many casualties. Well, there were a lot of casualties during that period of time. So the problem is, you don't, once you start a war, you don't know what's going to happen. There's been a lot of theorists over time, like Clausewitz and Yamini, who have said exactly that. It's real easy to start a war. It's a lot more difficult to end one. And between the start and the ending, some things are going to happen that you can't control. That's where we are right now.
Do you believe that there is a constitutional argument for being involved in Iran? Did this administration make it, and how important is it?
Well, it's a great question, Amy. There's not only a constitutional argument for this, it does say in our Constitution that the Congress approves war. The president does not go it alone. Now, there's some legal ramifications to all that I'm not going to get into because I'm certainly not a lawyer. But I will tell you this. In a democratic society, if you want to win a war, you have to have the support of the people of the country. And the people of our country are represented in Congress for the most part. So if you want to get the people of our country agreeing with sending their sons and daughters to a foreign land, you probably ought to have a little debate and a little bit of explanation of exactly what your end state is, what you're trying to do. And so far, in my view, neither one of those things have happened. And that's why there's a lot of members of Congress who are up in arms about this whole thing. And the American people, according to polling's not always accurate, but according to polling, the American people are overwhelmingly against going into Iran with any kind of force, much less soldiers and Marines on the ground. So, those are debates that I think other people will have. I'm just talking from the standpoint of a military guy who has experienced these kinds of things and who has seen a country lose support for their military in terms of an operations overseas.
General Mark Hertling, as always, we love talking with you. We know you've got to run a very busy day for you, so thank you for taking some time out to check in with us.
Hey, thanks, guys, and appreciate it, and keep doing good things. Inform the people, okay?
Thank you so much.
Mark Hertling, retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General with us here, also contributor to the Bulwark, St. Louis native. We have had Mark Hertling here in studio. We expect he's coming to town a couple of months from now,
I believe in April.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Very excited with his book tour. But so excited to talk with him. I know he's going to stop by Studio B, have an extended conversation with us, which will be an honor and a blast.
Yeah, he is really great.
Yeah.
CBC grad, likes to visit with us. He is a friend of the show, I would say. That is Amy Marks-Kors. I'm Chris Ranji. Hey, hope you're having a terrific day. We do have tickets for Zach Bryan. We're going to give those away before the show is over. Got to be listening for your chance to win. And the Gas House Gang is coming up at 12 o'clock. It'll be Tom Ackerman and me. Amy will check in to talk Blues hockey because they are back in action after the Olympics. We'll have Rammer on to discuss the Billikens win on Saturday and the final two games of the season coming up. Man, we are approaching the end of college basketball and the conference tournaments, the NCAA tournament. All of that is happening. Gas House Gang at 12 with Ackerman and me on KMOX.
Carpal tunnel syndrome. Heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Staples presents That Was Easy. So I own a coffee shop, and I wanted to label everything with our logo.
That's ambitious.
Cups, boxes, bags.
Ooh, that'll add up.
Not at all. Because right now, Staples prints custom labels for 30% off.
30% off? That's shockingly affordable branding.
Yep. Now our logo and URL are seen all over town.
Brand your business for less at Staples. That was easy. Shop Staples in store, online, or in the app by 442 Unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
100 years of service and still at your service. KMOX.
Well, do you think we should give away some tickets?
I don't think so.
I feel like Matt said we had to.
I think we should make people wait a little longer.
Overruled.
Hey, if you can be the 8th caller.
Hold on a second. Matt Pajeski does not overrule anything.
Overruled.
Here. No, this 25-year-old pipsqueak doesn't get to tell us what to do.
26. I'm 6 foot
I'm
tall.
caught in a crossfire here. Well, now, what's the contest line now?
How do you not know?
Because now
What's the
I'm
matter
upset.
with you?
And now people need to be the 8th caller to the contest line. 955 1120.
Yes, 1120.
Well, I got nervous because Mom and Dad were fighting.
314-955-1120. Live Nation has given us tickets to give away to you to see Zach Bryan Saturday at the Dome.
This Saturday already?
It is this Saturday.
Wow. Well, anyway, good luck.
March 7th. Can you believe it's March 2nd already?
I can. Hey, okay.
Can you believe you're already in your 40s?
Well, speaking of that, we were talking earlier in the show about my condition.
Well, and if you're wondering which condition.
Yeah, I know.
It's the one you didn't know about until today.
Yes, that's right. Guys, it's been a rough couple of weeks. I got shingles, and it's pretty bad, but I was very, 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 very fortunate because I didn't get the telltale, the classic rash. I didn't get that. What I did have is
Thank
severe.
God.
I know. I would not be here if I had that, but I did have severe pain in my ear and jaw and blurry vision, and my scalp hurt and my hair started to fall out and just super fatigued. So it still comes in waves. Like right now, my scalp still feels hot, and I still, like yesterday, slept half the day. Like you think you're getting better and then you're just sleeping. So it's been a rough go. But when I was diagnosed, because I didn't have the rash and there's no blood test, usually it's like, okay, we can see it. But it was basically all the pain was localized on the left side of my head, my face, my jaw, my ears, my scalp. And my doctor said, did you have a very stressful event in the past week or so? I'm like, yes, I did. And we did. And we had a funeral, like family funeral. And I'm like, yeah, we did. He's like, yep, that's what it is. And what's interesting is he said, shingles is now an illness for 40-year-olds. He said he personally sees more 40-year-olds than he does my parents' age for shingles. Well, at the same time, a new scientific study confirmed what is the most exhausting decade of your life. Now, of course, I feel like this is somewhat subjective, but they looked at from teens all the way to your 80s. What is the most stressful and exhausting decade? Do you want to guess what decade they said it was?
Well, I would like to say that it's whatever decade you happen to be in the moment.
Well, I think that's true, but basically science has said it's your 40s. Overall, your 40s, which they call your midlife, that's what we do, is the most stressful decade for a lot of people. And this is for a variety of biological and sociological factors. It's actually a collision of biological and sociological factors. And some of the biological ones, which we probably don't need to tell everyone, but your body changes significantly. Your metabolism changes. So you have a less efficient metabolism. You lose muscle mass. You're dealing with, injuries and aches and pains that you never had before. Your sleep actually decreases in your 40. You have less time to repair. You don't sleep as well. Your hormones are going haywire, especially for women. Like, hormones are insane, and it's in what they have to deal with, and how much their body changes is staggering. So you have that, but also work in your 40s. A lot of times you might be carrying your heaviest workload. Maybe you've worked your way up the top, or you've started a business, but it's not like you're an entry level at 40 in the same way that you might be in your 20s. At 40, you might have the most responsibilities that you've ever had. You also might have young kids, and your expenses are through the roof. And so, again, broad brushstroke here, but they're saying the 40s in general tend to be the most stressful and fatiguing, which I think makes sense. Again, there's always exceptions to the rule. And I kind of agree with Ranj that the most exhausting decade is the one you're in, but there's something to be said for the 40s, because the biological factors are real.
Well,
That's real.
I think part of the biology of it might be because, we're talking about stress. There has to be at least some additional stress, because when you get to your 40s, that's when I think you really start to think about your mortality.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can. I mean, not everybody does, but
maybe your parents are going through it, so you start thinking.
So I mean, you're talking about feeling creaky, and you're like, I'm creaky. That means I'm getting old. I'm getting old. That means I'm going to die soon. And then that probably adds a little stress too, unless you're just over it. But I would think a lot of people, as you and I do a little bit. I think, I guess I'm closer to death than I am closer to birth, right? At this point, most likely. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I live to 100, which I doubt. But I think you start to think about that, and that probably stresses out some people too, knowing that, you are over that hill that we used to make fun of all the time and no longer acknowledge for some reason.
Yeah. No, no, it's absolutely true. So again, and you're feeling the biological differences. I mean, I joke that I could be stupid in my 20s and I could be stupid in my 30s, but I can't be stupid in my 40s when it comes to rest, sleep, and recovery. And again, we mentioned the biological differences, which are 100% even greater in women and their hormones changing. But the sociological factors, they've said people enter extra responsibilities outside of work at the same time that their employer is basically expecting increased performance, availability, and leadership. So you've got all this pressure at work. Then you've got daily dog walks, taking care of kids, dropping them off at practices, emergency home repairs, aging parents. Maybe you're dealing with them medically, or they have questions about, operating basic technology. And so all of these pressures and demands are being ratcheted up at the same time that people are telling you, be present, enjoy life, be a better parent, be a better this or that. And he said all these 40-year-olds are absorbing this pressure without showing strain. They're supposed to not show strain. And one reason is that stress is going to go somewhere. And for a lot of people, it's illness.
That's right. So you got to really take care of yourself as best you can. And I know it's difficult because you may have time constraints that don't allow you to do it. You have responsibilities that don't allow you to do it. And you're right about sleep. It is, oh my God, it's such a big deal. And honestly, for me, I don't know, man, I can't remember the last time I had the kind of sleep where you have it, you wake up and you go, oh my God, I feel amazing.
Yeah.
I just don't have that much.
Very rarely, because when you
even if I sleep a long time, just doesn't, it's not like it used to be.
Back in December, I had one of those nights that I just slept so well that when I woke up, I realized my brain had not been racing all night. I had not been tossing and turning. It was almost like I fell asleep and my body didn't move until I woke up the next morning. It's like the biggest high I've had all year. It was
Oh
unbelievable.
my God. You want to tell everybody about it?
Yes.
Guys, guess what? I had the best sleep of my whole life.
It was unbelievable. I was a new person. And then you realize and I'm a pretty good sleeper. I fall asleep right away, but you don't realize how fitful you are until you have that perfection night's sleep. Ugh. I'd pay a lot of money for that.
When we come back, we're going to talk to Andrew Egger, White House correspondent for The Bulwark. His Morning Shots newsletter is something you should subscribe to. We also want to congratulate Greg from Wildwood. Way to go, Greg.
Nice
Won
work.
those tickets for Zach Bryan. Are we giving away more tickets all week? All week?
Wow.
Holy monkey. If you didn't win today, tickets for Zach Bryan, you'll have a chance tomorrow and every day until Saturday. Right here.
Well,
on
until Friday.
Well, through Friday.
Through Friday.
Until Saturday. On KMOX.
Spring training is here, and Cardinals baseball is heating up in Jupiter as young talent and big expectations take the field. The Gas House Gang is talking Cardinals all day long. Tom Ackerman, Chris Ranji, Bernie Nicholas, smart takes, insightful analysis, real Redbird conversation, plus live reports from Camp Cardinals with Matt Pauley and Mike Claiborne. If it matters to Cards fans, it's on the Gas House Gang. Weekdays at noon on KMOX.
New tax resolution firms are popping up every day with high-paid celebrity endorsers, advertising ridiculous claims in their TV ads. That's why they have the tiny, unreadable disclaimers at the bottom of the screen. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. Our ads never have those ridiculous, fast-talking, tiny disclaimers at the end because, simply put, there are no guarantees when it comes to the IRS and wiping out tax bills. And we don't make promises we can't keep. Of course, there are ways the Lance Drury Law Firm can help resolve your tax debt, but no company can guarantee it will eliminate it. This is why their clients call the Lance Drury Law Firm when those promises don't pan out. If you have tax problems, you have legal problems. Call me, Lance Drury in St. Louis at 314-260-6120 or visit Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
Still 37 degrees out there. Occasional rain and drizzle this morning. Otherwise, just cloudy and chilly. A high today of 46. Tonight, cloudy with a couple of showers late. A low of 40.
Weather sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
Cardinal Cowboy here. Renner Garage Door has you covered. Renner's been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. RennerDoorSTL.com.
RENNER. Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't hate, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hi, it's Kevin Wheeler here with Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Welcome back, Gloria. Now, for years now, you've been on KMOX helping families plan their next big move with your Guaranteed Sold program. So for those planning to sell their home this year, what's your best advice?
Thank you. My advice is simple. Do your homework before listing your home.
Our market is stabilizing, inventory is tightening and moving fast. In other words, the realtor you choose to sell your home really matters. That's why my sellers love my guaranteed sale program. I guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price and time frame, or I will buy it myself. I have thousands of buyers in my buyers in waiting database, so your home may already been sold before it's ever hit the market. Higher demand, more competition, and more money for your home.
Friends, if you want a realtor who will guarantee results, call the one that I trust. Gloria Lou at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
Rush Hour Sports, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here.
Bernie Miklasz joins Rush Hour Sports tonight at 5 on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Chris and Amy on KMOX, 9 to noon every day here on 104.1 FM. And it's time to go to the guest line every Monday. We do talk to Andrew Egger. Had to move things around a little bit today, but glad to have on the White House correspondent for The Bulwark and co-author of the Morning Shots newsletter, which you should subscribe to. Andrew A. St. Louisan is with us now on KMOX. How's it going, Andrew?
Hey, Chris and Amy, I'm good. Good to be with you.
It's good to have you with us. And so this military operation occurs over the weekend, and we've talked about the military aspect of this and, you know, what happens next in Iran. And there are a lot of implications and a whole lot of unknowns. We have no idea what's going to go on next. But from a political perspective, for the president and this administration, how do you think this will end up affecting him one way or another?
Yeah, so there are certainly reasons to wonder whether this drives a wedge through certain parts of the president's coalition. Obviously, the president has not shied away from using military force in the past, but at the same time, he has also made a very large part of his kind of personal political brand peacemaking, right? They very much shying away from the possibility of forever wars, regime change, basically just looking at kind of the whole American foreign policy of the past 20 years and saying, whatever we're doing, we're not doing that. That didn't work out so well for us. We're not going to get, embroiled in these lengthy conflicts. There was already a pretty significant reason to believe that, some of the president's most sort of peacenik-y fans were people who voted for him in the 2024 election who liked that sort of thing, have not been incredibly impressed by, for instance, the former bombing strikes on Iran, the strikes in Venezuela. I didn't necessarily have a problem. A lot of national security focused people didn't have so much of a problem with those operations. But there was already a sense that maybe this president was doing more sort of like warring abroad than he had necessarily given people reason to believe. And now this just blows all that out of the water, in terms of launching what could easily turn out to be a very open-ended conflict with, basically decapitating the current political leadership of Iran. It raises all sorts of questions. Like, are we now just going to say, all right, figure it out, adios, and leave kind of a giant power vacuum over there? Or are we going to, sort of stick around and try to sort of shape the political situation there according to U.S. ends, which, there are reasons to think that might be a better idea than just saying adios and getting out of there, but also gets into exactly the same sorts of, nation building, democracy promotion stuff that this White House has said is like, the last thing they want to do. And they continue to say it's the last thing that they want to do. So it's a very strange situation politically. Obviously, going in there and decapitating the regime was a win in certain respects for the administration. It was also kind of the easy part, and we don't know what will come next or how messy it could get. So it's a little difficult to predict, but those are kind of the fault lines that we're looking at.
Yeah, it's when you look at this situation and you can say, whether or not it was the right thing to do, but also what matters is how they did it, how they planned for it. In the past 2 days, the president has given the Washington Post, Axios, the New York Times, and ABC different answers to what the next steps are and how long this could or could not last. And you could argue there's a constitutional case to make for getting involved with Iran, but I'm not sure that that's been made. And so because of that, what is the understanding on the Hill right now, even from like Republicans? Do they know what's going on?
Well, no. I mean, I think that there is a pretty widespread sense of like, we need to figure out what's going on here. And you kind of hit on the nut of it right there, which is that even in terms of the rhetoric from this administration coming out publicly, there is not one why that's been given for why hit Iran now. There's the national security case for doing something against this regime is decades old, right? And it's a good case. It's the fact that they are a giant, state sponsor of terror, that they mean us harm and have been, pushing toward, nuclear armament, despite all sort of like international attempts to regulate that for a long time. That being said, the way that the White House hit them last year, was much more in keeping with sort of like the idea of sort of this limited surgical, we're going to go in, we're going to crush the nuclear program, we're going to get out, and then we're going to order everybody to put down their guns if they know what's good for them. I mean, you remember after we hit Iran last year, Israel was going to do subsequent attacks, and Donald Trump very famously got on Truth Social. He was like, Israel needs to turn those planes around. This conflict is over. We're done. And everybody complied. And like that was much more in keeping with kind of what this president has sort of pitched as his foreign policy. It's like, we're not going to not use force, but it's going to have a clear expiration date. They're still trying to talk about that or talk about this conflict as though it might be the same kind of thing now, even though it just does not seem like that's in the cards at all, right? Because we just went in and we hit dozens of targets, and it's going to metastasize across the region in one way or another. And when you have the president getting up there and saying, we achieved what we wanted to do. We've got ideas of who the next person's going to be, who takes command. But then he talks about how we also hit all of the possible second and third in commands and killed them as well. And then at one point he's talking about how it was about knocking out the remnants of the nuclear program. At another point he's talking about how it's about liberating the people of Iran. There's really nothing that anybody can hang their hat on. Like, wait a minute, what is it exactly that we are trying to do here? And so nobody really has a good sense of what a victory state would even look like, even though, like I said before, the White House and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and all of these people are taking pains to say, and don't worry, it's not going to be a forever war. We're not going to be there for very long. We are very cognizant that we don't want to do that. It's still not clear what the end state is actually supposed to be.
There are quite a few critics of this White House, this administration, who are saying, well, this is pretty convenient now to pull off this operation at the moment, because now we're no longer talking about the Epstein files, for example. Does that issue, and where does it go away completely here? People will try to keep that alive. Does it still have legs?
Yeah, I have always found that line kind of silly. The idea that we would, there are a lot of ways that the president can like distract from news stories that he doesn't like. He does that all the time. It's not like crazy to think that he would do that. The idea that we would, go halfway around the world and assassinate a bunch of mullahs and kick the entire region into a hornet's nest just to like stop people in America from tweeting about the Epstein files for a couple of weeks here, that does not really pass the smell test to me. At the same time, this is having like a pretty significant impact on just sort of like the normal domestic political landscape, right? I mean, like you think about some of the major stuff we were expecting to be talking about this week. It's things like the fact that the Department of Homeland Security is not funded right now. And Senate Democrats have been kind of like demanding a lot of changes, especially after Minneapolis and a lot of the abuses that we saw there, demanding, changes to Border Patrol and to ICE. And now, in light of this, there's a lot of pressure from Republicans to say, look, it's a whole new world out there. We need to be focusing our attention on this, potential international conflict, or this actual international conflict that has the potential to go farther. And you guys need to, set this stuff aside and just fund DHS already. That's kind of one of the real ways in which this is, being sort of used politically to try to, achieve a short-term domestic end. The Epstein file stuff, I don't know. I mean, that news will continue to percolate. People are continuing to kind of go through the files. That is all, as it should be and as it is. But I don't really buy the one-to-one causal relationship there that you suggest.
Andrew, I know we're kind of shifting here, but there's so much going on. I know you've been working on a piece looking at what's going on with the U.S. government and Anthropic, and kind of getting, lost in everything with Iran and everything else is this huge piece of news. Can you set the table for listeners? Just what exactly is going on with this rift now between Anthropic and the U.S. government?
Yeah, so Anthropic is one of the, say, 4 really big frontier AI labs in America right now. They're an American company, and by a lot of accounts, they may be the leading one in terms of just the power and complexity of their models. They were certainly, up until now, they were the one that was most integrated with the U.S. government, and particularly with the Department of Defense. That has now changed. In the last couple of weeks, there's been a big blow up, a big fight between the Pentagon and Anthropic over some red lines that Anthropic was trying to enforce, or wanted to continue to enforce. They had been enforcing all along, wanted to continue to enforce about military use of their models. They wanted the Pentagon Pentagon to commit not to use its models for mass domestic surveillance or for piloting autonomous weapons systems. So, killer robots in the vernacular. The Pentagon had a problem with this. The Pentagon basically said, look, we're going to stick to the law, but we do not think that you as a private company should be able to sort of dictate to us how we use your software. We don't want to be constrained in military situations by these red lines and have to be, going and asking Anthropic permission for how to do things. So they kind of gave Anthropic an ultimatum: drop these red lines or we're going to drop Anthropic. That deadline was last Friday at 5. It came and went. Anthropic said it would not drop those red lines. And so Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, basically said, not only are we going to rip up Anthropic's DoD contract, we're not going to work with them anymore, but we're actually going to, go way beyond that by designating Anthropic what's called a supply chain risk, which essentially means that any company that contracts with the Department of Defense in any way, Pete Hegseth and the DoD want to forbid them from working with Anthropic in any way. So it's basically like a declaration of war against this leading American AI company. It's so bizarre. I mean, we're just talking about Iran. Even after this, the Pentagon and its the different commands, different U.S. commands around the world used Anthropic, it's been reported, during these attacks on Iran, and while coordinating all the responses to this. It just kind of goes to show how integrated they are. Like I said, they were the lab that was most integrated with already ongoing DoD operations, but they have to stop now. Within the next 6 months, they will have completely, at least according to what Hegseth has said now, they will have completely taken them out. And again, it's this much more intense threat against Anthropic's business model, because all these other companies that work with the Pentagon, in theory, are not going to be allowed to work with Anthropic either.
It's a really fascinating story, and it's one that it's amazing that we're not paying that much attention to it because of everything else that is going on around this administration. But it has all kinds of really huge implications, and even some financial ones too, because there's so much money invested in all of these AI companies that any sort of discussion like this has effects on the market too.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also strange because, if you just look at the White House's overarching AI policy prior to this fight, it was very much, the opposite. It was very much, we don't want to regulate these companies. We want to be basically hands off. We want them to grow. We want them to grow fast. We want to create sort of a regulatory environment that lets that happen, as well as possible, because, China's got its AI companies too. And we want ours to grow faster and get better than theirs do. And that has been the policy basically up until this current fight. And I think that a lot of people, who even, understood that there was a real irreconcilable difference there between the Department of Defense and Anthropic. They were like, well, look, okay, it doesn't seem like this contract is going to survive this conflict, particularly when some of these other AI labs, like Elon Musk's xAI or Sam Altman's OpenAI, they were willing to work with the Department of Defense under the terms the Department of Defense wanted. But the fact that the Pentagon has gone so far here, I mean, the theory of the case that Hegseth is laying out is that, Anthropic shouldn't be able to buy, video chips from NVIDIA because NVIDIA has contracts with the Department of Defense. And, Google and Amazon should not be able to own Anthropic stock because they have contracts with the Department of Defense. So it's basically like trying to kind of give a death sentence to this giant, powerful, field-leading American AI company when the AI market is like so much of what is like continuing to power the growth in the stock market that we saw under Donald Trump, under Donald Trump's first year of this second term. So it's a very strange story in a lot of ways. Nobody's really sure how it's going to play out because nobody's sure whether this supply chain risk designation will even survive in court. And Anthropic has a pretty strong case to make that this is a designation that's usually restrained to like software companies that come out of Russia and China, that they're worried that there's like spy software embedded in them. Those are the kinds of companies that the DoD has used this list to sort of like silo off from Pentagon systems. Anthropic, it's very plainly just sort of a retaliation from Hegseth. And so I think they are hoping that a court will see it that way too. But yes, they are really kind of playing with fire here in terms even of the economic side of things, as you mentioned.
Thank you, Andrew. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, guys.
You can follow his coverage on all of this on his Twitter account. Go there and follow him at EggerDC. It's the Chris and Amy Show. You're listening to KMOX.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
100 years. That's how long Overhead Door Company of St. Louis has been repairing and replacing garage doors. A century of trust in St. Louis. Always look for the iconic red ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis for same-day repair service and no extra charge for evening or Saturday service. Trust your friends at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Schedule online at overheaddoorstlouis.com. That's overheaddoorstlouis.com.
St. Louis, get ready. One of the most powerful voices in country music is coming to the Dome at America's Center on March 7th. Zach Bryan, live in concert.
It'll be fun about those clouds, I'm telling you, baby.
With the songs you know by heart.
You can see now.
One night, one stage, an unforgettable night of raw, honest music. Tickets available now at Ticketmaster.com. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
When was the last time you watched your home movies? Disasters strike unexpectedly. Every year, American families lose the one thing they'd run back into a burning building for, their family's memories. Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Adam. We started Legacy Box to help save your family's most important recorded moments so you don't have to worry.
Load Legacy Box with your old movies, film reels, and shoeboxes of photos.
We work our digitizing magic, converting those memories right to the cloud so they're safe and accessible forever.
It's fast, we always send your originals back, and it's done right here in the USA.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box. Better Homes and Garden, Real Simple, and Inc. Magazine are all talking about Legacy Box.
New York Times columnist David Pogue says, have them digitized. I wish I'd done it sooner. Take action. Save your family's memories today with Legacy Box.
Go to legacybox.com/value to get an incredible 50% off your Legacy Box. That's legacybox.com/value for 50% off while supplies last. legacybox.com/value.
Get ready, St. Louis area. The St. Charles Boat Show is here March 5th through 8th at the St. Charles Convention Center. See the top dealers from the Lake of the Ozarks and climb aboard your next dream boat. New models, great deals, and summer fun starts here. Visit lakeoftheozarksboatdealers.com for details.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Hi, this is Charlie Brendan. Everyone knows we need to do what we can to protect our eyesight. That includes finding the right eye doctor. For 30 years, I've been recommending the doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranj Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andrew Royer. I'm one of their patients, and so are my wife, daughter, son, and sister. These doctors and their technicians spend a lot of time with their patients. They're expert at cataracts, multifocal lenses, and light adjustable lenses. And if you're experiencing dry eye, don't hesitate to make that appointment. Dry eye, if not treated properly, can cause harm that's difficult to reverse. For excellent eye care, do what I do. Call the doctors at 314-966-5000 and visit one of their offices in St. Louis, St. Charles, and Sullivan, and at youridoc.com.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
One other thing about DTF St. Louis, and we talked a little bit about it earlier, just about the St. Louis specific references in the first episode of the series on HBO. And one thing we did not get to is actually kind of a big one, and that is one of the characters in the show works for Purina.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, they got a lot of things wrong, like calling it the St. Louis Metro County, and they keep calling things the suburbs when we all refer to everything in the suburbs as the county. Just, there were some things that were a little bit off, but they do have a person who works at Purina, and apparently this has been an issue for the company.
Because that person wears a Purina branded shirt.
Yes,
on the show. You see the Purina logo. Also, it's the old logo, by the way. It's not the new Purina logo, but they're wearing an old logo with Purina. And yes, it's somewhat problematic because seeing a logo and a company in a show sometimes can be mistaken for collaboration or endorsement. And as we remind you, DTF St. Louis is an erotic thriller.
I love erotic thrillers.
It's an erotic thriller. So Purina actually had to issue a statement because their product is in this rather scandalous show. It said, quote, Purina found out about the inclusion of our brand in HBO's DTF St. Louis at the same time as everyone else when entertainment articles showed a character wearing our iconic checkerboard logo in a promotional photo and the show trailer. And while we didn't agree to be part of the show's plot and were surprised by the context, we do feel that now is a great time to remind people that the best way to find real love online is by visiting Pet Finder or downloading the Pet Finder app to find local adoptable pets. That seems much more St. Louis.
Well, I'm going to tell you this about the show. Yeah, I think it's advertising. Just take it. But the show is, so far, it's entertaining. I'm going to stick around and see how it goes. But there were some of the St. Louis area things that they referenced that I thought were, okay, that's not how we do it here, but I guess whatever you have to do. Like the arch being in the immediate background of the county sheriff's office, which is
not exactly
not how this works. We also had
Market Street spelled out. Market, Street.
They do film off Market Street, but it is not our Market Street. It's somewhere else. We also had a texter who mentioned when we were talking to Joe Jackson, the piano guy, this texter said that Gaslight Square was kick-started after the St. Louis tornado damage of 1959, which is true. They did some renovations at Gaslight Square. And also the gas lamps from the square were sold to Six Flags during the construction in the 60s. And I guess some of them are still there.
Wow.
That's not a thing I knew.
Now we have to save
We
Six
have to
Flags.
Go find the Gaslights from Gaslight Square and tell us about them. All right, we'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Anything you missed is on the Odyssey app. You can find it there for free, KMOX.com, iHeart app, or wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back tomorrow at 9. Coming up next, though, it is the Gas House Gang, Tom Ackerman, and me. We'll talk some Cardinals baseball, Ollie's extension, Blues back, Billikens won, all that and more next on KMOX.
Stupid reasons, just god awful stupid reasons.
Time now for today's Spotlight